It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: compensation payout for Milton Keynes prison officer, tributes to Luton father killed in plane crash, a new anti-EU campaign launched today.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A former prison officer at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation. Simon Butler fractured his right ankle when he slipped on ice while on guard dog patrol outside the jail. More from Tony Fisher.
The High Court heard after the life-changing fall in December 2009, he developed serious complications and is now plagued by chronic pain and reduced mobility. He carries a 25% risk of amputation and is forced to rely on his son and wife. The 47-year-old sued over an alleged negligent failure to grit the area where he fell, and the Ministry of Justice accepted he should be compensated.
The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. First Officer Francis Simmons, who was 46, died when his light aircraft came down in Chigwell. He leaves a wife and 7-year-old son. The pilot was also killed. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union launches today. Vote Leave is the second Eurosceptic group formed to fight the referendum promised by David Cameron by the end of 2017. More from the BBC's political editor Laura Kunsberg.
It has the financial backing, significant financial backing, from donors from across the political spectrum. And Vote Leave's goal is clear: to build a broad and credible campaign that can cross the divides. On the other side, within the next few days, a pro-EU campaign will launch too.
The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town. Moya Griffiths, whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes police amnesty boxes could save lives. The idea was proposed at a Wycombe District Council meeting this week, but was not supported by the council's leader. Health regulators are due to publish figures today which will reveal the scale of the financial problems facing the NHS. Experts predict that the size of deficits between April and June will be larger than in the same months the year before. A huge shipment of aid is being sent from Luton today to help Syrian refugees who've reached 4 Greek islands. Mercy Worldwide Trust has collected more than £300,000 worth of food, clothing and medicines. 8 doctors and 15 volunteers are also making the journey. Organiser Faz Shah says he's been stunned by the response.
It's only been made possible by the local businesses in Luton, and we've had religious institutions, faith groups, churches, mosques, temples, all pulling together. We've had huge donations from pharmaceutical companies who've just provided pallets and pallets of more medicine.
In sport, Northern Ireland have qualified for next summer's European Championship finals, their first major finals since the 1986 World Cup, following last night's 3-1 win over Greece. And England's Matthew Fitzpatrick leads the British Masters golf at Woburn. The 21-year-old carded a 7-under par 64 yesterday to lead by 1 shot. The weather: early mist and fog clearing to leave a sunny day, a maximum temperature 17 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Oh, yes, thank you, Simon. Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Boy, have all the journalists that work for newspapers gone on holiday? Because there's nothing in the paper. There's nothing in the papers. The best story I found in the papers is about a woman that lives with 60 dogs. That's it. That's it. It's going to be one of them days, guys. If you want to give us a call about anything, do you know what I mean? If you just want to have a whinge or... really... The stories we got, they're not brilliant. The papers are a bit... don't matter. 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
She's flying in the face of fashion.
Morning, guys. Don't shut your mouth with us. We're the Early Morning Chit Chat Club. Classic bands. No, don't shut your mouth. One thing I beg, please don't shut your mouth. We're the Early Morning Chit Chat Club with Iain and Kath. Hey, don't forget, suckers. That's so rude. Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing a show tomorrow, midday till 2.
Oh, yeah.
I can fix it.
We should do a quiz. We should do... What part of the body would you get a sweetmeat from?
Well, I know... Hang on a minute. Where did that come from? Sweetmeats, of course, are...
They're not.
Yes, they are.
No, it's not.
Well, they're sour, really, but they're called sweetmeats.
No, it's not that.
It is that.
You might call them that,
No,
but
it's those.
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Not according to the radio station I was listening to yesterday.
03459 455. It turns out we are having a chit-chat rolling quiz club. What part of the body do you get sweetmeats from? Because I always thought the sweetmeats were, let's just say, the crown jewels.
No.
Wowzers, you see? What was
It's something you'd miss, but not quite. Well, maybe more than those.
Lord Reith was right. We educate, we inform, and we just bang on and on and on about how good we are. Now, a man has been awarded almost £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice during the course of his work at Wood Hill Prison. Simon Butler was a prison officer on guard dog patrol when he fell, fracturing his right ankle. The High Court heard that complications which developed afterwards mean he now has a 25% chance of becoming an amputee. Catherine, tell us what happened to Simon, please.
OK, the court was told that 47-year-old Simon Butler was once an extremely fit man. He used to play football, he used to play cricket, golf. When he wasn't doing that, he was walking or cycling. Now, this all changed in December 2009 when he fell on an ungritted pathway outside his workplace, which happened to be Wood Hill Prison. In this fall, he fractured his right ankle, and that injury developed serious complications, meaning he's now plagued by chronic pain and he's got really reduced mobility, certainly compared to what he had before. Really sedentary now. A veteran with 20 years experience, he'd really enjoyed that career and used to exercise these two lively dogs twice daily, but sadly the High Court heard that the accident has changed his life for the worse.
Oh dear. So why did he sue then?
Well, because he's had to give up this 20-year career. His wife now has to care for him. The root of the problem is this failure to grit outside the prison. Simon Butler sued his former employers at Wood Hill Prison, the Ministry of Justice, and the MOJ accepted that he should be compensated. However, they denied they were 100% liable for what happened. They argued he should have taken some responsibility for his own safety. Judge Rosalind Coe QC awarded him almost £497,000 against the MOJ.
What's life like for him now?
Well,
difficult and different, I'd imagine.
As I mentioned, he now has to rely on his wife, also his son. And the judge said that on top of her own work and caring for her husband, his wife has to get up at 5:30 daily to walk the dogs, prepare the family meals. Both husband and wife were in court as the judge commended their resilience and determination to make the best of the hand that had been dealt to them. The ex-guard and his wife were apparently close to tears as the judge related how he can no longer play cricket with his son, who is a talented sportsman, due to his injuries. And the couple were entirely honest and straightforward, according to the judge, and said, if anything, had sought to minimise the toll of the accident on them.
The amputation, there's a chance of that happening? Yeah,
at present the court heard that he considers amputation too drastic an option, but he has to live with his 25% risk that it may become necessary in the future. The life-changing, apparently, but for the life-changing accident, he would have hoped to carry on working until retirement age, and obviously he can't do that anymore.
And what did the judge say in summing up?
That the injuries had a massive impact on the family, adding his quality of life was critically dependent on the ability to walk. He and his son used to play cricket together and go training and would spend time together going to matches, playing cricket or kicking a ball around. None of that's been happening since the accident. Also, there is the door open for further... Your neck?
Yeah, no, sorry, there was a little click there. I do apologise.
Further court action. Mr Butler, who lives in Peterborough, was granted the right to return to court for further compensation should he need that amputation. Oh, blimey, dear.
03459 455 555. It's 11 minutes past 6. That means it's Niccolo time.
top of my pen. Sting, 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 sting. Say, who's that leading at the very last bend? Sting, 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 sting. I'm shouting out. Sting, 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 sting. Yeah. Sting, 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 Don't bring me no Vegas and I don't need sting, 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 sting. Cause I feel better than a sting ain't me. Sting, 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 sting. I work the day and I love the night. Sting, 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 sting. Everything's stinging, sting, alright. Sting, 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 sting. Yeah. Sting, 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 sting. I wanna talk about the way I feel, cause it's so real. Everything about it, I gotta let it out. I've been moving up and down, but I've been looking around for the clouds to break and the tide to turn. I made some money, I found the honey, and I'm feeling funny for the very first time. I can't take it on the chin, cause the mood I'm in is swinging one this time. Sting, 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 sting.
Don't forget, all of the music today, of course, is coming out from records. Okay, so what was the answer? The thing about quizzes on the radio, right, is they don't work anymore because we all have, before, in the 80s and the 70s, let's be honest, we were all dumb in the old days. Everyone knows that. You look back at the old days, we were stupid. And if there was a quiz on the radio in the 70s, you'd have to go, oh, I know. Oh, I know that one. I know that one. Jimmy Savile. But now, they've swapped mics, haven't they? Why? Of course, they've changed things in here to make it even more complicated. These people. But now there's a question on the. Oh, I'll just check on my phone.
Look,
I'll just Google it.
Mostly the only people having fun in the quizzes are the people on the phone. That's one person.
I'll tell you what it is, right? This is why radio stations do rolling quizzes, right? Because that means that the 6 people that phone in, they'll get on the radio, they'll have a little bit of fun and a little bit of smug self-satisfaction. And for the people hosting that show, easy content.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Blackthorn on the A41, there are temporary traffic lights in both directions between the Blackthorn Rail Bridge and the Blackstone Farm. That's because of roadworks going on there, so that it could cause some delays later on this morning. And in St Albans, expect queues on the North Orbital Road between the Park Street roundabout and the London Coney roundabout in both directions because of the roadworks there. It's looking quiet so far, but because of that lane close, that could cause some queues when it gets busier. And in Hatfield on the Great North Road, there's also roadworks at the junction for Ballstair Green, so expect some queues there. On the train departure board, so there's no delays showing up so far this morning. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy?
Yes?
Where are my sweetmeats?
What's the sweetmeat?
Yeah, that's the problem we're all having. Thank you. Sorry, that's the problem we're all having here this morning. 03459 455 555. I tell you what we can do. Listen. Let's see if this is what people want, or if it's. We're going to do a quiz. Okay, we'll do a quiz. And see if people want. Maybe people want a quiz. Question 1: what is sweetmeats?
And has Kath got some?
And has Kath got any sweetmeats? There we go. Question 1. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being. I've only had 4 hours sleep, so maybe that's making me even more
lazy.
Sneery than previously. I don't know. 03459 455 555 616. It's Friday, the 9th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A former prison officer at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. And the mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town.
Do you like to keep your eye on the weather? Do you like to record the changing seasons where you live? Does the science of weather fascinate you?
We have high pressure in charge of the weather. That means lots of sunny spells around.
There's something new coming to BBC Three Counties Radio, and we need your help with it. You'll need to have a computer, smartphone, or a tablet and access to the internet. If you're interested in taking part, send your contact details to 3cr@bbc.co.uk.
The phone-in that's kept us going for a week now. A week. Songs with the word wang in. No, I'm so tired. I could be in great trouble. So what's this one called, Catherine?
Inky Winky Wang Dang Doo.
Thank you. You got it right. Okay, I had to think for a second there. I think muddy, very muddy. So I think they recorded that. I think they recorded this. Yeah, underwater. That's what it sounds like. It's muddy, very, very muddy indeed. 03459 455 555. Your muddy production songs as well, please. We can do that. And the curse has struck again. The front pages of all the newspapers. Bruce Forsyth, he's still alive. He's still with us, but because we only mentioned him briefly on the show yesterday. But he's taken.
He's only had a fall because we didn't discuss him at length.
Well, yeah, exactly. So let's stop talking about him. Phew. Ah, dear. 81333, start your text 3CR or give us a call 03459 455. Now, the mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a weapons amnesty. Moya Griffiths, whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes that police amnesty boxes could save lives. We talk about this from time to time, don't we, Kath, where the police say, right, we're going to have a 2-month amnesty and have a big kind of... it's like a sort of bottle bank, isn't it, outside the police station, when they say, if you put your knives in there, if you drop them in at the station, no questions asked.
I think she's talking about knives and guns, though, in this situation.
No, okay, yeah. And at first I was kind of a little bit sceptical about these, but there is evidence that a load of knives do turn up. Now, whether they're the kind of knives that would end up in a fight or not, we don't know.
And whether they're from the people who are using them or their mums who find them, and say, getting rid.
It certainly does get a load of knives off the street. And, I guess it kind of raises awareness anyway. The idea was proposed at a Wycombe District Council this week, but it was not supported by the council's leader. Joined now by Danny O'Brien, who is the founder of Anti-Knife UK. Danny, you'll know better than us. How well do these amnesty bins work?
It varies from what part of the country you're in, tell the truth. But they do work, but they're put in the right place.
I guess we know that knives turn up in these places. Judging whether they would be the knives that that would be brandished in a fight or not is perhaps a little bit harder to tell. But I guess the thing with knives that makes it so different from guns is, I could when this show finishes, I could pop into a shop over the road and get a whole array of dangerous knives. You can get them anywhere, can't you?
That is the biggest, that's a big issue. It's, knives, I'd say to people like, how many knives have you got in your house? And what would your answer be? Is you probably say, I don't know.
I haven't got a clue. I couldn't find the potato peeling one the other day. I know that much. But yeah, I don't know. They're all around, aren't they?
They are all around, but we've got two choices. We either ignore knife crime and let people carry on stabbing each other, and losing young lads and lasses losing their lives, or we try and sort of like bring awareness to knife crime and try and calm it down. We're never going to stop it because it's been around since Adam and Eve, I suppose. But we've got to basically start to address the problem, and it's not just a problem in say High Wycombe. It's a community problem across the country, if not across the world.
Why did you start Anti-Knife UK?
I actually live in London, and I got fed up back in 2008. I just got fed up of picking up the newspaper, and it seemed like an everyday occurrence that youth were losing their lives. But when I started looking deeper into it, I realised that it's not just the youth of today, it's actually everybody. Every age group is affected, doesn't matter the colour or their age or their sexuality. We've got a problem with people lashing out with a knife. So it probably could be anger management down to mental health problems, drugs. It's a community problem that needs addressing.
Isn't a lot of it? Listen, I've got no idea how old you are. You sound like you're of a similar age to me, and we are kind of. Let's be honest, we're old men, Danny. I hate to break it to you, but a lot of these people that carry knives, they're kids, aren't they? They're kids, and are they doing it to protect themselves? And it's going to take a massive shift to kind of change that mentality, isn't it?
Can I say is let's stop blaming the youth. Right?
Well, they're the ones that are carrying the knives, though, aren't they?
Yeah, no. Every age group seems to be lashing out with knives. If it's not out in the street, you've got the older people of our age group in brackets. Yeah.
Well, you don't. Well, Danny, you don't tend to hear so much about it. I mean, every time I do a story about someone being stabbed on here, it's a young lad, generally.
But it's now. If you look into it, you'll find that domestic violence is now on the increase. Mental health issues are on the increase. We cannot, the youth are to blame to a certain extent, but they're not the total blame.
But I'm not blaming them, Danny. I'm not having a go at them. I'm just saying it's a cultural thing that us as men of a certain age, we won't understand why a 16-year-old kid thinks he's got to put a knife in his bag to go to school, or a knife, or get his girlfriend to hold a knife when they go out to a club.
No, but I understand where you're coming from, and I used to agree with you, but I disagree now because I see it, on a daily basis through my website and through news links that older generation are now lashing out as well as the younger generation, unfortunately. But it is mainly, I would say, from late 16 to about 24 is the age where you're more likely to be stabbed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they're carrying knives because they're scared.
They're scared. They think it seems to be the thing to have. Back in our days, it was a comb in the back of the pocket, but now it's so easy to get a knife or a sharp instrument like a screwdriver from your local shops or even online.
Well, Danny, I wish you the very best of luck with it. As Danny O'Brien is the founder of Anti-Knife UK, 03459 455 555. I think I'm going through a Michael Jackson phase.
Oh, no.
No, I think I am.
What do you mean by that?
Enjoying his music.
Okay.
I think I'm enjoying his music. Can I play? I'm going to play.
Oh, no.
What's wrong with this? This is a classic. Listen to him. He's warming up there. Yeah.
The electric piano.
Yeah, he's just turning up to the studio. Yeah. Oh, the man in the mirror. Yeah, gonna do it now. Big time, Michael Jackson style. Coming at you.
Feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see? really they're in need. A sonorous disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Na 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 na. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize there was someone no home, not a nickel to love. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? Oh well, oh deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make the change. You gotta get it right while you got the time. Now you close your heart, then you close your mind. That man, 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 you know, that man could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, you gotta look at yourself and then make that
Change. Oh yeah. Na 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 na. Yeah. Na 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 na. That is a good tune. Sorry.
Oh, you cutting it short?
Well, I'm late for the trav.
Oh, I was going to throw something at you.
I'd rather you didn't. Thanks so much.
Anyway.
She's going to do it anyway.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's moving fine on the M1 so far this morning between junction 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable, where the roadworks are, but it could get busy later on. On southbound on the M11 though, there's a lane blocked by an accident at junction 7 for Harlow. That's involving two cars, so that could cause delays for people heading towards London from Bishop Stortford. In Walthamstow, on Walthamstow Avenue, the North Circular Road's looking very slow eastbound. That's because the vehicle's broken down and a lane's been closed between the Walthamstow Avenue and the Cooks Ferry interchange. That could cause some delays for people this morning heading into London. And on the Marlow Hill and High Wycombe, there's roadworks at the junction for Hoodors Hill Lane, but there's no reported problems on the train so far this morning. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy.
Across beds, hearts, and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. Simon Butler broke his ankle and now has a 25% risk of amputation. The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. And the mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Northern Ireland have qualified for next summer's European Championship finals, their first major finals since the 1986 World Cup, following last night's 3-1 win over Greece. Watford defender Craig Cathcart was in the Northern Irish team, with MK Dons duo Lee Hodgson and Ben Reeves and Luton's Paddy McCourt among the subs. Here's manager Michael O'Neill.
Very happy, ecstatic to be honest, and a sense of relief because we weren't wanting to go to the last game, and but the pleasing thing was the level of performance, to be honest, and you know, we were bodies down tonight and the lads that stepped in were fantastic.
The Republic of Ireland will join them if they win in Poland on Sunday. That's after a 1-0 win over world champions Germany in Dublin. But Scotland are out after conceding a last-minute equaliser to draw 2-2 at home to Poland. Tonight, England, who have already qualified, host Estonia, with former MK Dons midfielder Dele Alli set to make his debut. There are no matches tomorrow for Watford, MK Dons or Wycombe because of the internationals. Luton host York in League 2. Stevenage are away to Exeter on Sunday lunchtime. A new Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp will give his first press conference at 10 o'clock this morning. In golf, England's Matthew Fitzpatrick leads the British Masters at Woburn. The 21-year-old carded a 7 under par 64 to lead by one shot. Woburn-based Ian Poulter had a 68 with Luke Donald a 67. Here's Chris Latcham.
Cornflakes, fruit juice and straight to the first tee. Matt Fitzpatrick won't have long to dwell on his first round lead as he's due off at 8:40 this morning. The 21-year-old belied his age yesterday, rolling in 6 birdies and an eagle in a 7 under par 64 in front of 15,000 spectators. Today, though, we'll test how he leads from the front because 4 players are within one shot. One of those is Lee Slattery, fresh from winning in Russia last month, and Scotland's Mark Warren, who'll be looking to impress his playing partner, Europe's Ryder Cup captain Darren Clarke.
And practice starts this morning for Sunday's Russian Grand Prix. Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton leads the Drivers' Championship by 48 points, with 5 races left this season. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Smoothly done. Come on, guys, it's harder than it looks.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Bobby, can you hear me? Can you feel me near you? Bobby, can you see me? Can I help to cheer you? Ooh, Bobby. Oh, no, it's Tommy, isn't it? It doesn't work in that. It's from Tommy the musical, not Bobby the musical. The musical, of course, about Bobby Ball, yes.
So who's on the phone then, Tommy or Bobby?
I don't know. Who are you, sir?
A lady.
Oh.
This is just... Hang on, a Spaniard has just been thrown into the works. This is insania. Lady Bobby.
Yes.
Intriguing.
I called up about sweetmeats.
Okay.
It's not actually meat. You're confusing that with sweetbread.
My sweetbreads are my plums?
Yes. Sweetmeat is...
Intestine?
No,
it's not meat at all. Sweetmeat is...
I'm just saying, don't get angry.
No, sorry.
No? It says on my screen you're in Dorset.
I am.
Technically not. You should be listening to BBC Radio Crud. Seaside, that's it, yes.
Well, technically, my local one is actually BBC Somerset because I'm on the border of Dorset and Somerset.
Okay, well, why are you not listening to those guys? Are they not doing a sweetmeat phone-in?
Because I like to listen to you.
Well, may God bless you for that, Bobby, and we will be sending you a shiny silver dollar as soon as we can find one. So what is a sweetmeats then?
Sweetmeat is a way to preserve fruit or nut using sugar.
So it is nuts.
No, I'm sorry, that was not the answer. As it might be true, but it wasn't the answer. They were doing it on a different station yesterday.
Hang on a second, please don't fall out with. No, don't fall out with Bobby from. She's calling from Dorset, right?
Yeah.
And just not. Let's treat her with a little bit of respect. Let's pretend that her answer is right.
And then talk about when she's gone.
Yeah, we'll talk about her when she's gone. So just give.
I am listening. Remember that.
Aye. Tune to BBC. So, how long have you? Have you always lived in Dorset?
No, I've always been in sort of the southwest. I've been Wiltshire, Dorset.
Wow. What I'm getting at is, why the hell are you listening? How did you discover this nonsense?
Well, I listened to you in sort of your LBC days, your absolute radio days, so I followed you, really.
The other people here don't know that I have a radio history, and if they go and check it on Wikipedia, I'm going to get the sack from this one as well. So let's just keep it. Quiet. Well, Bobby.
So, yeah, I'm sort of a stalker of yours. I follow you wherever you go.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut you off now.
That's not very...
There we go. So
she's wrong anyway.
Thank you, Bobby. It's very kind, very kind. What's the weather like in Dorset, Bobby?
At the moment, it's dark.
Yeah, it will be. It's night time.
Yeah.
She's right, actually.
The weather today, dark.
It's dark weather. Thank you, Bobby. That's very kind of you to call up.
It'll be dark, then it'll get a bit lighter through morning into dimness in the evening.
It wouldn't. And it amazes me.
That's my record. Don't you nick it?
It amazes me that people listen. They've got their own radio stations and they choose to listen to this.
It doesn't amaze me.
And what I'd like to do is I'd like to get all of those people that listen to us in various parts of the country into let's say a coach. I was going to say a minibus.
I was going to say a pen, like sheep.
Let's get them into a coach. Let's drive them round to their respective radio stations they should be listening to.
Drop them off.
Honk the horn and say, "Oi! This should be one of yours," and then do the coffee gesture, and then drive off to the next one. What a day that would be!
Good.
What a day!
When are we going to do that?
You do it later. Ian, here's a text. Do a best. What's your best urinal story? I got a beauty. Well, anonymous texter, we'll always do a what's your best urinal story.
I've got one.
Have you?
Yeah, my sister came out of this bathroom once and said, "I've got a funny sink."
Yeah.
Been in the men's by accident.
Oh no! When we were getting our bathroom done in the last place we lived in, we were getting our bathroom. So we went to look at all these Ponzi bathroom shops, right? And there was one, and we went into one. I said, "Oh look, that's..." And they had the bathrooms laid out, different kind of bathrooms. I said, "Oh, that's a posh bin, isn't it? Was it like an extractor chute?" He said, "No, it's a urinal." I said, I don't live in a pub. A urinal for my... Oh, he said, "Oh, yeah, they're very, very popular these days." I bet nobody...
Unless you're two fellas living together, that's always going to be horrible.
Nobody would have a urinal in their bathroom toilet. No.
I've seen grand designs. I bet it happens.
It's the same as... what do they call bum washers? Bidets.
A bidet.
They were kind of popular. What's wrong?
Just reminded me of my wedding night for a moment.
Well, I'm terrified to know where, but...
I danced so much, the balls of my feet were burning. Okay, so halfway through the night I got up.
The balls of her feet.
My new husband's wondering where I am. He went in the He went in the bathroom and I'm sitting on the loo with the seat down. I'm sitting on the loo with my feet in the bidet, just having cold water run over them. They were so hot. There was such a lot of dancing done.
Great story, Kath.
I think they're more useful for that. I mean, you've got to get the angle right.
They still have them in the
continent.
I'm going to play a song that's got a rude word in, but I can dip it. I know it well enough.
I used to wash my tights in mine when I lived in Spain.
Really?
Yeah, very handy.
This has got. I'm just going to have to listen to this and focus.
Yeah, tight.
Hang on.
Let's try it again.
Here we go. Please, Dr. Hook, don't let me down.
Elvis, he's a hero, he's a superstar, and I hear that Paul McCartney drives a Rolls-Royce car. And Dylan sings for millions, and I just sing for free. Oh, everybody's making it big but me. Oh, everybody's making it big but me. Everybody's making it. Everybody's making it big but me. Everybody's making it. Neil Diamond sings for diamonds. And here's old rhinestone me. Oh, everybody's making it big but me. Well, I hear that Alice Cooper's got a foxy chick to wipe off his snake and keep him rich. And Elton John's got 2 fine ladies, and Dr. John's got 3. And I'm still seeing them same old sleazos that I used to see. Oh, everybody's making it big for me. Everybody's making it. Yeah, everybody's making it big with me. Everybody's making it. Well, I've got charisma and personality. Well, how come everybody's making it big but me? What's wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with it, Rick. Well, I paint my face with glitter, just like Bowie does. And I wear the same mascara that Mick Jagger does. And I even put some lipstick on that just hurt my dad and mom. And everybody's making it big but me. Oh, everybody's making it me. Everybody's making it big. Yeah, everybody's making it big but me. Everybody's making it big. They got groupies for their bands, and all I've got is my.
It's disgusting.
And everybody's making it big but me.
Everybody's making it. Everybody's making it big. Everybody's making it. Everybody's making it big. Everybody's making it. Everybody's making it big. Everybody's making it big but me.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're heading towards London on the M11 southbound, just before junction 7 Harlow, there are delays because of an accident which has blocked a lane. On Walthamstow Avenue on the North Circular Road, that's very slow eastbound because a lane's been blocked between the Walthamstow Avenue and the Cooks Ferry interchange, with delays back from the Crooked Billet interchange now. And in St Albans, it's looking quiet so far on the North Orbital Road between the Park Street roundabouts and the London Coney roundabout, but that's where there's a lane closed in both directions for roadworks, so expect it to get busy there when it starts to get into the morning rush. On the London Road and East Side, there's temporary traffic lights at the junction for Newland Road, so expect delays there too. And there's no reported problems on the trains at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. 6:46. It's Friday, guys. We made it another week. These are your headlines on Friday the 9th of October, BBC Three Counties Radio. A former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. And the mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town. Let's get the weather!
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It certainly is a very chilly start to the day. In fact, perhaps even a little bit of windscreen scraping going on this morning. We've got temperatures down to around 2 and 3 degrees in some of the more rural spots. So it's cool, and there are some mist and fog patches around this morning, so do be wary of those if you're out and about on the roads. Of course, poor visibility in some areas. That should all lift and clear by around 9 or 10 in the morning. It'll be a dry and fine day with lots of blue skies around. A bit more fair weather cloud here and there into the afternoon, but not enough to spoil the sunshine, and probably not as much cloud as we saw yesterday either. The winds are light, and of course it's nice and pleasant in the sunshine with highs of around 16 Celsius, 61 in Fahrenheit. Now for this evening and overnight, then it's still going to be quite cool. I think we'll see temperatures down to around 4 or 5 degrees Celsius again in the rural spots, but the wind is going to pick up, and we're expecting some slightly drier air, so we probably won't see the same problems with mist and fog into tomorrow morning. But we're looking at a dry and settled weekend. There will be some good spells of sunshine around, feeling just that little bit cooler, so probably only highs of around 15 degrees. And the only fly in the ointment is this strengthening easterly breeze that's going to be with us on Saturday, Sunday, a little bit stronger on Sunday, and then lasting well into next week. It's going to make it feel really quite cool at times, but some good spells of sunshine on offer as well. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much indeed. We've started off something here. So we've got everybody. If you're not listening to your local BBC radio station, welcome to us. You're more than welcome. I don't know who this is from. I can't see who these are from on this ridiculous system. I should be listening to BBC Radio Derby, but through the miracle of the iPlayer radio app, I wake up to you every morning instead. Iain says he should be listening to WM, West Midlands. There's another one who said they should be listening to. Where was it? Oh, this all gone to. I'm listening in Newcastle, says Tom. I listen from Epsom, says Jimmy. It's a tough choice between you and Paul Ross. And I'm listening in Folkestone, Kent, says Andy.
Gosh.
We seem to have...
We're so exotic.
Aren't we just?
Every weekday from 3.
It's not just about what we bring you.
Starting off on the M25, it's particularly heavy moving anti-clockwise.
It's also about what you bring us.
In the end, I could only eat off my ironing board.
Your stories.
Every room in the house was I was climbing over mountains of rubbish.
Your humour.
There's a reason why you earn the big bucks, you see. That sort of insightful comment is exactly right.
Your opinions.
Well, the culture's got to change because the police can't do it and the traffic wardens are so busy. So the culture has to change.
I think parents do change into different human beings when they are picking their kids up.
Roberto Perroni.
And everyone across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
This is not. It's not me. I had that queued up perfectly.
I haven't
it's
touched
this
it.
Record player seems to jump when you. Hang on. Right, this is what the end of the song is going to sound like. But how do we get there?
My name.
Go, go, go.
It's Manfred Mann, and my name is Jack. Oh, it's not. It's not like leaving that song. Hang on a minute. Which one's this? Oh no, it is. It is. Oh, shut up.
My name is Jack and I live in the back of the Greta Garbo home. With friends I will remember wherever I may roam. And my name's Jack and I live in the back of the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls. We all love Jack and we live in the back of the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls. Hands on his head cause he thinks he's heard the bomb. And here comes Super Spade who really puts it on. It's lots of fun and I love to run up and down the stairs. I make as much noise as I want and no one ever cares. And my name's Jack and I live in the back of the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls. Funny old hair and he's never sad at all. And when I grow up I want to run as fast as my friend Paul. There's the prettiest girl in the whole wide world and her name is Melody Man. And here comes Ma with brother Tom, who's probably my best friend.
Hashtag Foxwell Fried.
Best friend. And my name's Jack, and I live in the back of the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls. We all love Jack, and we live in the back of the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls.
I'd like to Bossa, please.
My name is Jack, and I live in the back of the Greta Garbo, and I live in the back of the Greta Garbo home for wayward boys and girls.
Ooga zaga, ooga zaga, ooga zaga, ooga zaga. I am Broken Britain.
Oh, it goes a little bit funky at there now. If only Manfred Mann had pursued that funky sound in the last 3 seconds of the fade-out of My Name is Jack, the world could be a completely different place. Speaking of different places, let's go to Northampton and Graham. Good morning.
Morning, Ian.
How you doing, fella? You all right?
I'm all right, you?
I'm tired, but, hey, I stayed in a hotel last night, right? And I'm getting a hotel buffet breakfast straight after this. It finishes at 9:30, so we've got to dash in the car, dash to the hotel, and dive into the... dash into the hash browns.
You can have, you got a supercar or something. Where is that hotel? In Dunstable?
It's, unfortunately, yes. Yes, it's in beautiful, beautiful Dunstable. And boy, oh boy, I stayed in this hotel room, right? And I had 4 hours sleep, and I was kind of wondering if I could get a little bit of the money back, because I was only there for a few hours. I say 4 hours sleep. I had the time to have 4 hours sleep. I got about 2.5 hours sleep, because there was this whistling noise. And I was lying in bed thinking, I can ignore the whistling noise. And then at about 4:10, I thought, right, I'm going to find this flipping noise. If you've ever had to track down a noise, 03459 455 5. I spent 25 minutes tracking it down. It was like the fan in the bathroom, just doing this high-pitched whistling noise. Yeah. It was enough annoying. It was enough annoying, Gray.
Yeah, it wasn't tinnitus then, Ian.
Oh, no, don't. I've got that as well. I've got that. And that's all of your fault, dear listener, for shouting in my ears. I have to have it very, very loud. Hey, what you got for us, Gray?
As you know, Ian, it's John Winston Lennon's birthday today. He would have been 75.
Oh, no, I didn't know. Oh, no. Okay, go on.
And, Yoko Ono's doing the world's biggest peace sign out of human people in Central Park today.
We could do the world's biggest two-fingered salute. I don't know if that would be appropriate.
What would you do if you could organise it? What sign would you make with a lot of people?
It would be. I would just make. Do you know what would look awesome from space if we could get 1 million people to? And I know it's a cheap Americanism, and I apologise, but if we could get 1 million people to stand in Central Park and make the sign of the bird, the raised middle finger, that would look awesome, wouldn't it?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, we'll see.
Or a reverse Harvey Smith.
We'll see if we can do it in the car park after the show. No, we can't. We're going for a buffet breakfast. Graham, thank you for that. I forgot. J-Dog, it's John Lennon's birthday.
I know exactly what I was going to say. He would have been 75 years old today.
Wowzers.
Why don't we take this to the streets?
Yeah.
Why don't we come up with the creme de la creme tribute package to John Lennon?
Thank you, Graham, for bringing that to my attention, and slap wrist for me for not being aware of it. Justin, I know you're going to make something that is actually, and we have a lot of fun on this show. We tend to have a lot of fun after the show has gone out on air. But I know you do some flippant stuff. I know you're going to do something that's just going to get us here, and I'm indicating my kind of my third chakra, which is kind of where the spirit is, and you're going to get us in deep. You're going to get me deep.
We're going to go deep, and we're going to go with power today.
Okay, I look forward to that, mate. I might even add a little bit of reverb to it just to make it all the more special. Thank you, Justin. Excellent stuff. Excellent. Well done. We were struggling to find anything for Justin as the papers are so dry today.
And then along came Graham.
Thank you, Graham. Excellent suggestion. Brilliant. And that'll be great from Justin. Nice one. 75 years. Hey, it was taken too young.
He'd have been a miserable.
He would have been. And wouldn't the world have been awesome to have a miserable old so-and-so out there? Anyway, right. Well, have you got anything in the papers?
Yeah, this, right?
Go.
It's the beginning of the end. It's the end of days, my friend.
Uh-oh.
They become a must-have for fitness enthusiasts.
Hang on a minute. While you're doing that,
What?
I'm going to get us. Let's play some Lennon music in the background. Let's never forget. You talk about him being angry. He'd
have been sweary about this story.
He was. Hang on a minute. I'm going to find something. Hang on a minute. Where is it? Hang on. Oh God! Hang on. It's worth it. I tell you what, you start,
right?
And I'm going to bring in some really angry John Lennon music.
Do it gently and subtly.
Okay, here we go.
It might put me off my stride.
Okay, here we go. Some John Lennon at his angriest, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
They become. Oh.
Sorry, he's angry.
Oh.
Yeah, angry on the panpipes.
They've become a must-have for fitness enthusiasts, but tracking bands could soon be given a run for their money by tiny gadgets in our bloodstream.
Oh, these are these stupid things when people go, what's your watch? It's not a watch, it measures how many steps I take a day. It will take 10 more in that direction, please, you idiots.
So annoying. Technology is evolving so fast we'll soon be able to swallow tracking sensors in the same way that we would a pill, say industry experts. It could spell the end for rubber bands.
Spend the air?
Could spend the air for rubber bands, which help runners and gym goers to count their steps and chart their calorie intake and boast. As well as monitoring things such as their pulse rate and body temperature, the ingestible sensors could even link to other devices, allowing users to automatically control household gadgets based on their physical state. Right, get this. They're also talking about attaching it to people who are disabled or have dementia.
This is the beast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to see where people are. Make sure your kids aren't drinking and driving. Apparently, it will be able to turn off the engine if you were boozed up.
I want it to be able to turn off the kids. That's what I want. I want to be able to send those suckers to sleep whenever.
Just mute them.
03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're heading towards London on the M11 southbound this morning from Bishop Stortford, you might find some delays at junction 7 for Harlow because there was an accident earlier involving 2 cars there, but all the lanes have been reopened. It's still looking slow on the speed sensors. And on the A1 southbound in Bournemouth, it's busy from Holiday Inn towards Barnet Lane at Stirling Corner, and it's also busy at the Brickhill Wood North Orbital Road around the M25 junction 21A roundabouts. In Waddesdon on the High Street, there's roadworks at the junction for Baker Street, so expect some delays there. And also in Bedford, it's quiet at the moment, but there's roadworks on Paula Radcliffe Way at Cutthroat Lane, so expect some delays there while the Bedford Western bypass is being built. On the train departure boards, though, there's no problems reported at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
And to all of you that are going to the Bare Naked Ladies concert in London tonight, I hate you guys. Only 2 more hours, guys. 2 more.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: compensation for former Milton Keynes prison officer, tributes to Luton father killed in plane crash, a new campaign launched to leave the EU.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation. Simon Butler fractured his right ankle when he slipped on ice while on guard dog patrol outside the jail. More from Tony Fisher.
The High Court heard after the life-changing fall in December 2009, he developed serious complications and is now plagued by chronic pain and reduced mobility. He carries a 25% risk of amputation and is forced to rely on his son and wife. The 47-year-old sued over an alleged negligent failure to grit the area where he fell, and the Ministry of Justice accepted he should be compensated.
The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. First Officer Francis Simmons, who was 46, died when his light aircraft came down in Chigwell. He leaves a wife and 7-year-old son. The pilot was also killed. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union launches today. Vote Leave is the second Eurosceptic group formed to fight the referendum promised by David Cameron by the end of 2017. More from the BBC's political editor Laura Kunsberg.
It has the financial backing, significant financial backing, from donors from across the political spectrum. And Vote Leave's goal is clear: to build a broad and credible campaign that can cross the divides. On the other side, within the next few days, a pro-EU campaign will launch too.
The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town. Moya Griffiths, whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes police amnesty boxes could save lives. The idea was proposed at a Wycombe District Council meeting this week, but was not supported by the council's leader. Health regulators are due to publish figures today which will reveal the scale of the financial problems facing the NHS. Experts predict that the size of deficits between April and June will be larger than in the same months the year before. A huge shipment of aid is being sent from Luton today to help Syrian refugees who've reached 4 Greek islands. Mercy Worldwide Trust has collected more than £300,000 worth of food, clothing and medicines. 8 doctors and 15 volunteers are also making the journey. Organiser Faz Shah says he can't thank the public enough.
We rang friends up and our contacts in the community and our business friends, our network throughout the UK, but mainly in Bedfordshire, they simply went out, went to the cash and carries, went to Tesco's and bought cases and cases of baby food. And it's just been amazing.
In sport, Northern Ireland have qualified for next summer's European Championship finals, their first major finals since the 1986 World Cup, following last night's 3-1 win over Greece. And England's Matthew Fitzpatrick leads the British Masters golf at Woburn. The 21-year-old carded a 7-under par 64 yesterday to lead by 1 shot. The weather: early mist and fog clearing to leave a sunny day, a maximum temperature 17 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, guys. Ian Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's 3 minutes past 7. It's Friday. Got a mouth ulcer on the go. Happy days. Happy days. Wrong questions. I mean, how can there be a wrong question? I don't know. All questions are questions, man. Ah, dear me.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, anyway. Well, you can't please... Hang on, let's get this right. If you please, you can please... Here we go. You can please some of the people for a bit of the time, but not all of the people for most of the time. Is that what John F. Kennedy said?
Pretty much, yeah.
Or words to that effect.
You can either please them sometimes, part of the times, or none of the times at all.
Here's the thing with people. They're unpleasable for considerable portions of the day.
Here's the thing about people. Why are you trying to please them?
The only time I'm happy is when it rains. What song is that?
I'm only... It's garbage.
Happy. Garbage. No, it's not. It's quite good. Thanks very much indeed. That's on a par with you be 40. No, I be 42.
Who won the Bake Off?
Nadia.
Find out.
Hey! Okay. Honestly, it's a really slow news day today, guys. Really slow news day today. And with guests dropping out left, right, and indeed right in the centre, it's going to be even slower. So you can call in about pretty much anything what you want to talk about.
Just tell us some stuff.
Just phone up and tell us some stuff. Honestly, phone up and tell us some stuff. I promise you I will ask you the right questions. All the questions are right questions. Now, a serious story. A man has been awarded almost £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice during the course of his work at Woodhill Prison. Simon Butler was a prison officer on guard dog patrol when he fell, fracturing his right ankle. The High Court heard that complications which developed afterwards mean he now has a 25% chance of becoming an amputee. Catherine, tell us what happened to him.
OK, this is 47-year-old Simon Butler, who the court heard was once an extremely fit man, used to play football, cricket, golf, and when he wasn't doing that, he was either walking or cycling. Very, very, very active. Now, this all changed in December 2009 when he fell on an ungritted pathway outside his workplace, which was Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes. Now, in this fall, he fractured his right ankle. And after that initial treatment, he developed serious complications, meaning that he's now plagued by chronic pain and his mobility has been vastly reduced. This is a guy with 20 years' experience who'd really enjoyed his career, used to exercise these 2 very lively dogs twice daily as a handler. Sadly, though, the High Court heard that the accident had turned this very active man into a sedentary figure. He can barely get out and about these days.
And he's sued, I'm guessing, to make up for loss of earnings and to help with the changes he will have to make in his life.
Loss of earnings, the fact that he's had to make changes, also the fact that he still had some time to work. You know, he'd worked for 20 years. His wife now has to care for him. And he bases this all on this failure to grit outside the prison during the winter. Simon Butler sued the Ministry of Justice for negligence. And while the MOJ accepted that he should be compensated, they argued that they weren't 100% liable for this. He should have taken some responsibility for his own safety. However, the court found in Mr. Butler's favour. Judge Rosalind Coke, you see, awarded him almost £497,000 against the MOJ, and the door is open for further lawsuits.
What is life going to be like for him now?
Well, he's relying now on his wife and his son, apparently. The judge said that on top of her own work and caring for her husband, his wife has to get up very early every day, walk the dogs, prepare the family meals. You know, the brunt of the household is now on her shoulders, as well as his care. Both husband and wife were in court as the judge commended their resilience and their determination to make the best of the hand that had been dealt to them. He and his wife were said to be close to tears as the judge related how he can no longer play cricket with his son, who's a talented sportsman, due to his injuries. And the judge said the couple were entirely honest and straightforward witnesses who, if anything, had sought to minimise the toll of the accident on them.
And there's a small but significant chance of an amputation.
Yeah, at present the court heard he considers amputation too drastic an option, but he has to live with a 25% risk that it will become inevitable. If he hadn't had this accident, he would have hoped to carry on working until retirement age.
And in summing up, what did the judge have to say?
Well, the judge said Mr. Butler's injuries had had a massive impact on his family, adding his quality of life was critically dependent on the ability to walk. He and his son used to spend time together going to matches, playing cricket, kicking a ball around. None of that's been happening since the accident. Mr. Butler from Peterborough was granted the right to return to court for further compensation if he has to have that amputation.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Where are you going? Well, no, go then. Go, if that's your attitude. If that's your attitude. If that's your attitude. Well, no, you can go
I
if
was
you
going
want.
to get out of your hair.
Okay, well, you can.
But, I mean, I'd only be there, so it makes no difference. It makes no odds to me.
Here's the thing. When I was at a do last night. I was doing a do. I was Betty Boo. I was doing a do last night, and it was nice, and loads of nice people there, and for some reason lots of people wanted to have their photographs taken with me. The silly fools. But so there's the thing now is when people have their photograph taken with, and I'm going to use it with people they want to have their picture taken with, they do the selfie, and there's like three of us having a picture, and the arm doesn't reach out, and I said, guys, why don't we do the old-fashioned selfie? And ask someone to take a picture for us.
It's not a selfie anymore, is it?
No one does that anymore. Could you take a picture for us? And everyone was like, yeah, of course. But no one. When we were at Stonehenge, when I went to Stonehenge in the summer with the boys, I was very happy to go up to some Japanese. Always go up to the Japanese. They know how to take a good picture. They know how to take a good photo. The cliche is true. Go up to someone and say, could you take a picture of me, please? And the people will do it.
Happy to.
Very, very happy to.
And then you've got a good chance that you might all get in it.
The thing is, though, of course, that sometimes those people, they don't know how to use smartphones, the clever phone technology, and they take absolutely rubbish photos, and you've got to go, oh yeah, nice one, until they walk away, then you get someone else to do it.
That's the thing, right? Checking someone else's picture that they've taken of you on your phone is a bit like holding a tenner up to the light.
Yeah.
It feels a bit cheeky, but you do have to check before they go.
Yeah. And I wish I'd checked when my boy and I met Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, because those pictures suck. Those pictures are way too dark. But anyway, so there's a story about a driver who decided to chase a police car filmed a 120 miles per hour selfie video. Now, in the great scheme of things, that's kind of dumb, isn't it? Yeah. Filming yourself going at speeds beyond those humanly possible.
But doing that while being chased by policemen is arguably also a silly thing to do.
Well, it says he was chasing the police car.
What?
A driver who decided to chase a police car filmed a 120 miles per hour selfie video. The footage was discovered after Imara was involved in it. Is that the person's name? This is weird.
Or is that the name of the car?
No, it's the person's name. They only give one name. This is weird. All right, this is like Madonna. A driver who decided to chase a police car filmed 120 miles per hour. So the footage was discovered after Imara, one word, was all lowercase, apart from the first letter, was involved in another chase at 130 miles per hour and crashed his Mercedes.
Oh.
At Canterbury Crown Court, Imara, 24, of Shepway, Kent, admitted driving dangerously while banned and offences including burglary. Imara has been jailed for 4.5 years. Well, you know what happens to people with one name in prison? They get asked, why haven't you got a second name? Over and over and over again. It's Dante's Inferno, I believe.
No.
Is it not?
No.
Is it level 42? That's Dante's Inferno.
Level 42?
Yeah, that's not... Oh! Did you not know? You don't know where they got the name from?
Is that from Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, that's
no,
right.
it's not.
Yes, it is, mate.
I thought they weren't levels, they're concentric circles.
Well, it might not be Dante's Inferno, but it's someone's Guys,
It's Jimmy Durante.
We're back. Jimmy Durante is coming to town. Guys, we are doing the rolling quiz today.
Where are your sweetmeats? And have I got any?
No, we are doing that. But then what are level 42 named after? Because...
Excellently slapped bass.
Why did you mention Jimmy Durante?
Because you said Dante.
I hear I got a lot of rock fans in Europe, and I know rock fans in Europe would like Jimmy Durante's coming to town.
Yeah, of course we would. We're in Europe.
It's been sort of reflected upon the fact is that I always wanted to be as great as George Burns and Walter Matthau now.
Come on,
and some
wild
of these great
man.
comedians because they couldn't make it as a rock.
Just sing us Jimmy Durante.
He needs to cough.
It's called Jimmy Durante's Coming to Town because I might be really as good as Jimmy Durante.
You're not.
Jimmy Durante is coming to town, coming to town, coming to town. Jimmy Durante is coming to town.
Thank you, wild man. Fish. Oh, no. Wild man Fisher there.
I'm coming.
Sorry?
I'm coming. Jimmy
And
Durante
and on,
is coming
and on,
to town.
and on, and on, and on it goes. I told you I sold my Wildman Fisher double album for £75. £75. I sold it. £75. I don't know if it is a double album. It might just be a single album. Anyway, why would you film yourself? It's like here's the thing as well, right?
To show off, I guess he was showing off.
But where's the showing? Just don't break the law, guys. Why do we have to break the law? Why does anybody have to break the law? Why can't we all just, we were born to love one another. Why can't we all just get on with each other?
People get their thrills in other ways.
Don't they just? They get their kicks from doing naughty things. 03459 455 555. So, what have we got for the listener to contribute on a day when all of the stories in the newspaper are cack, and the stories we got for the show, the guests are dropping out willy-nilly? What have we got that the listener can contribute to, Catherine?
Well, they can...
Sweetmeats?
Sweetmeats. Where are they, and have I got any?
And level 42, I'm sure it's Dante.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1, there's reports of an accident southbound at junction 13 for Bedford, and that's because the entry slip road there has been partially blocked, starting to cause some queues. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's very slow between junction 16 for the M40 and 15 for the M4. And in Cheshunt on the A10, it's very slow southbound approaching College Road, and that's we've had reports that the traffic lights there aren't working towards the M25, so that could cause some delays. On the A1 southbound, there are queues from the Holiday Inn towards the Stirling Corner as well. And on the train departure boards, there's no reported problems at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. 7:15, it's Friday, thank goodness for that. It's the 9th of October, these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. And the mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town.
Sit back and relax. I want to tell you a story. Next Friday, our short story season launches here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
The sunlight suddenly shone too brightly.
A season dedicated to great stories written by you
Veins rippled innocently on the turquoise floor of the pool.
and brought to life by us.
The sultry afternoon air suffocated us in its heavy blanket.
Short Story season starts next Friday with Nick Coffer here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
As the gentle breeze of the blouse blew through the air, my tousled hair became entwined in my eye. I brushed it to one side and I glanced, and the beauty that beheld my gaze was magnificent, and it touched me deep in my soul. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Short stories. It's a dying art. The art of the short story, it's a dying art. It's dying art. In the 40s, 50s and 60s, short stories were, because you would get things like Reader's Digest magazine.
Yeah.
And like true detective stories and stuff. And this is how writers, like people like Kurt Vonnegut and, Mark Twain, years before, this is how they would earn their living, is by writing short stories. Dickens was, all his stories were serials, weren't they?
They're kind of newspaper article type
Yeah,
things,
yeah, yeah. And the short story is a dying art, dear listener. So I'm going to be asking. I won't actually be able to listen to it myself. I'll be busy, but I'm going to be asking people what they thought of it.
I love the power of the long story. If I'm ever trying to keep the kids, send them to sleep through boredom,
Yeah.
I've got this story.
Once
upon a time,
yeah,
there was a little girl,
Yeah.
and she said to her mummy, "Tell me a story." And her mummy said,
Oh no.
"Okay." Once upon a time.
Oh no, you sound like my granddad. That's the kind of thing like, you remind me of a man. What man? Do you know this?
Yeah.
What man? The man with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo. You do. What? Remind me of a man. What man? I mean, we literally hours. And boy oh boy, how much I would pay to have another round of that with my grandfather.
My granddad's one was, I wish I was a mockingbird.
Oh.
I'd mock and mock and mock.
Yeah.
And mock and mock and mock and mock and mock and mock and mock. And mock.
That's quite enough of that. I think we get the idea. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, 81333. Start your text 3CR, or you can email as well, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. Now, the mum of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty. Moya Griffiths, whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes that police amnesty boxes could save lives. The idea was proposed at a Wycombe District Council meeting this week, but it was not supported by the council's leader. Moya joins me now. Morning, Moya.
Good morning.
Thank
Good
you very
morning,
much
Ian.
for coming on at 20 past 7 is not quite as ridiculous as perhaps it could be. Tell me about
No, not at
Jordan.
all.
Tell me about Jordan. What was he like?
Jordan, a peacemaker. He was always the one, if there was any hassle or whatever, he would be the one that would calm the situation down. He was fun, very loving, very loyal to his friends. He was just a normal 20-year-old boy with everything to live for. He was in college, he was doing media course. At the time, he was actually, believe it or not, thinking of joining the police force. We'd got 3/4 of the way through filling his forms out. So, yes, he was just a very, very articulate, clever young man.
And listen, if I ask anything you don't want to answer, Moya, you tell me to jog on. I won't be offended at all. But would you mind telling me what happened 6 years ago?
Yes, by all means. I mean, he was not the intended victim. He was in a property which was a squat. He did have friends there. He was living at home with me. It was early evening when he left. I hadn't actually arrived home from work at that time. And subsequently, he'd gone down to deliver some clothing for a friend. And that was the last, I hadn't seen him since 7 o'clock that morning. 3 attackers. They went on the premise of robbing, basically. And he was knifed through the heart. He actually answered the door. He was knifed through the heart. And then they kicked and stomped all over his body.
Blimey. How did you find out about it, Moya?
Unfortunately, Thames Valley Police, they had a mix-up. They said they couldn't get hold of me, which I find rather absurd, but I wasn't told until 3:10 in the morning. But I knew from about 8:30 in the evening, I just had this awful premonition there was something terribly, terribly wrong. I had this feeling I couldn't get hold of him. I'd left him voicemails. I'd left so many text messages. I just had this really heart-wrenching feeling that something was wrong. But I went to bed, and then I got woken up at 3:10 in the morning to be told that he'd died.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry.
He actually died at 11:15 in the evening. But he wasn't registered as having died until 11:45 p.m. So, knife crime is particularly important to me.
Well, the next question on my screen is, why is this campaign so important? But I don't need to ask that question, because you've kind of, you've summed it up. You've told your story so powerfully, Moya. I can tell why it's so important to you. This campaign obviously means a heck of a lot to you.
It's not just the fact that I've lost Jordan to such an horrific crime. It's the fact that so many others are following in his footsteps, and more has to be done to prevent this. I mean, we're on a roller coaster here. The figures speak for themselves. It's on the increase month by month by month. Now, other forces have taken the initiative and are listening to reason from the public outcry that something has to be done. In this instance, I was mortified that the knife amnesty was turned down by Wycombe District Council.
We've talked about knife amnesties on here before, and they always seem to have... whether it reduces knife crime, I don't know. I've not looked at the stats, but it certainly raises awareness, which can only be a good thing, and certainly a load of knives do end up in those big kind of plastic or those big containers that they have outside the police station or get handed in at the police desk. So we know that there is an impact. So it must have been a surprise when Wycombe District Council decided not to go for it.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, particularly in relation... their premise, if I can say, is the fact that it would cast a bad light on High Wycombe.
Gosh,
the
really?
environment.
Wow.
This is what I believe.
Okay.
They want it. They want the public to think or believe that this is a safe environment to live in and socialise in and work in. It would be very, very bad publicity from a social media point of view if that were not the case.
We asked Wycombe District Council to come on. Councillors don't like coming on this show because I kind of ask them direct questions, and they prefer it if I let them read their press statement. So Katrina Wood from Wycombe District Council declined to come on, but they sent a statement. The statement is this: the number of reported violent crimes in the Wycombe district has increased a little. We are told in these circumstances that Thames Valley Police would not ordinarily launch a knife and gun amnesty, but the force will be best placed to comment further on this. And then we got a statement from Thames Valley Police, which says... And by the way, guys, if you send a statement in, it comes across as being very, very cold. If a human being comes on and speaks to us, it sounds so much warmer. This is the Thames Valley Police statement. The local police area of Wycombe has a long history of working closely with the local authority and other partners to tackle knife crime. Police officer... It don't say anything, really. The police one doesn't say anything. What's your reaction to those, Moya?
I just think that they're burying their head in the sand. I mean, 2 months ago, a young man lost his life to knife crime. This is in High Wycombe Town Centre. There's been several instances, and, we're talking knife crime here, but we're talking weapon crime in particular. Guns have been used in the area. Some defendants were recently sentenced. So it's right across the board. And weapons do travel. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there was an instance some time ago where it was some Wickham youths retaliated and went to Slough and stabbed somebody. So this is a national crisis. And if Thames Valley Police cannot see that, well, it beggars belief, to be quite frank. The statistics, the figures speak for themselves.
Yeah. Oh no, knife crime's on the up. You know. Particularly in London, it's up a lot. But right across the whole country, it's on an upward trend. Moya, I really appreciate you sharing Jordan's story with us this morning. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Well, I just hope that by speaking out, both Thames Valley Police and Wickham District Council will definitely have a change of mind and heart on this. One less knife on the street is one less knife that is going to be used to create mayhem and cause devastation. It is the families that have to suffer through all of this. And believe me, your life is never, ever, ever the same again. And they really ought to be considering the people.
Moya, thank you very much indeed, Moya Griffiths there. 03459 455 555. That makes you think, doesn't it? Dearie me. OK. 03459 455 555. 81333 if you want to text in. Start your text 3CR. There's not really a lot you can say after that, is there? So if they're waiting, let's go to the travel a little bit early, shall we?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's very slow on the M1 southbound at junction 13 for Bedford because there was an accident earlier on the entry slip road. On the A10 Great Cambridge Road in Cheshunt, it's very slow. We've had reports of traffic lights at College Road are not working, so that's causing delays heading towards the M25. On the M25, it's busy anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. And it's also slow on the Bricketwood North Orbital Road junction roundabout for the M25 at the junction 21A roundabout. On the train departure boards, there are no reported problems at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. So, what have we got so far? What the hell are sweetmeats? It's John Lennon's 75th birthday. There are some people that don't like the old codger. I know there are some people. I mean, a lot of his solo albums. Let's be honest, they're kind of stinky. There's a load of good stuff out there, but they're patchy at best. The Imagine album's good, apart from the song Imagine. What's the one where he sat under a tree? That's good. But then you got Sometime in New York City, and you've got the Awful Rock and Roll, and Double Fantasy. Double Fantasy. Flippin' heck. 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A former prison officer at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. Simon Butler broke his ankle and now has a 25% risk of amputation. The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a knife amnesty in the town, and a new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today. Vote Leave includes the Conservative MP for Wycombe, Steve Baker, and the Labour MP for Luton North, Kelvin Hopkins.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Northern Ireland have qualified for next summer's European Championship finals, their first major finals since the 1986 World Cup, following last night's 3-1 win over Greece. Watford defender Craig Cathcart was in the Northern Irish team, with MK Dons duo Lee Hodgson and Ben Reeves and Luton's Paddy McCourt among the subs. Here's manager Michael O'Neill.
Very happy, ecstatic to be honest, and a sense of relief because we weren't wanting to go to the last game, and but the pleasing thing was the level of performance, to be honest, and you know, we were bodies down tonight and the lads that stepped in were fantastic.
The Republic of Ireland will join them if they win in Poland on Sunday. That's after a 1-0 win over world champions Germany in Dublin. But Scotland are out after conceding a last-minute equaliser to draw 2-2 at home to Poland. Tonight, England, who have already qualified, host Estonia, with former MK Dons midfielder Dele Alli set to make his debut. There are no matches tomorrow for Watford, MK Dons or Wycombe. Wycombe because of the internationals. Luton host York in League 2 with Stevenage away to Exeter on Sunday lunchtime. A new Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp, will give his first press conference at Anfield at 10 o'clock this morning. In golf, England's Matthew Fitzpatrick leads the British Masters at Woburn. The 21-year-old carded a 7-under par 64 yesterday to lead by one shot. Woburn-based Ian Poulter had a 68, Luke Donald a 67. Here's Chris Latcham.
Matt Fitzpatrick won't have long to dwell on his first round lead as he's due off at 8:40 this morning. The 21-year-old belied his age yesterday, rolling in 6 birdies and an eagle in a 7-under par 64 in front of 15,000 spectators. Today, though, we'll test how he leads from the front because 4 players are within one shot. One of those is Lee Slattery, fresh from winning in Russia last month, and Scotland's Mark Warren, who'll be looking to impress his playing partner, Europe's Ryder Cup captain Darren Clarke.
And practice starts shortly for Sunday's Russian Grand Prix. Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton leads the Drivers' Championship by 48 points with 5 races left this season. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
There's a word for that, but I don't seem to know it. Sometimes I grow a mustache just so I don't have to show it. The word for that someone somewhere chose for that little dented skin between my upper lip and nose. There's a word for that. What does it start with? The word for that. I'd sound so smart if I only knew the word for that. Perhaps you do.
The word you're looking for is philtrum.
There's a word for that. It may come to me soon. It dangles down in my mouth and it's often in cartoons. The word for that. It seems like such a drag to not know what to call that little fleshy punching bag. There's a word for that. What does it start with? The word for that. I'd sound so smart if I only knew the word for that. Perhaps you do.
Do you mean uvula?
There's a word for that. It's on the tip of my tongue. Well, actually underneath it, and has been since I was young. The word for that, although I wouldn't quote, it likely stops my tongue from disappearing down my throat. There's a word for that. What does it start with? The word for that. I'd sound so smart if I only knew the word for that. Perhaps you do. What does it start with? The word for that. I'd sound so smart if I only knew the word for that. Perhaps you do.
Oh, you nuts, it's frenulum.
You nuts. Morning, Mark.
Morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss? You all right? Oh, no, leave her out of the equation, please.
Why? She is the show as well, isn't she?
I beg your pudding. She's the what? Well, in that case, you can talk to her. Bye-bye.
It's been said before that I've made a show of myself. Morning, Mark.
Good morning, Catherine.
Hiya. What did you... Oh, he's not talking to you now. It's one or the other.
To both of you.
Who do you love more, Mummy or Daddy?
Mummy and Daddy.
That's just weird. I don't like that. I don't like that sentence at all. What you got, Mark?
Right. Did you find out about the egg?
No. Who was it who called in about it?
I did. You got to picture the scenario. Yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at my table, and you get the guy turning about holding an egg in
Let
one
me just
hand
explain
and
for those.
another
Yeah.
egg.
For those who missed it, we had a very, I'm going to say, dour gentleman phone in, and he wanted to know why. And it took me ages to work out what he was talking about. Okay, so you've got an egg in your left hand, an egg in your right hand. You hold the left hand up, you hold the right hand underneath it, and then you put an egg in the middle. So they're kind of going as it's an eggy column.
Right. This was Will from Sundon Park.
Will, and he wanted to know why the middle egg would then spin around.
Well, I sat there trying to do combinations of trying to balance these eggs. Anyway, I got one in the one hand, and I thought, well, I can't do it. So I thought, you're going to break these. So what I did, I thought, I'll do it. I'll try it another day. So as I put the eggs on the table, I thought, right, I went to the time it took for me to lean back onto the kitchen surface and get the egg box to put them back in. One of the things had rolled on the flipping floor.
This is right.
This is 8 o'clock, the news has come on, and I've got to get out the door at 10 past 8, and here I was trying to
clean up egg.
Tape all this egg, and I texted you at the same time. I did text you yesterday about
I thought that was a joke when you texted in saying I've smashed the egg on the floor. I thought you were joking.
No, if it had been quarter to 8, and I would have actually phoned in. It's not a good idea.
Here we go.
The time it took, 10 seconds the egg had rolled off the table onto the floor.
Here we go. This is what I'm establishing from all of these talks of eggs. Eggs are haunted. That could be the only explanation for it. Eggs are haunted. That's got to be it.
Did anybody work it out?
Hang on a second, Tony.
Oh, hello, Ian.
Did you do the egg thing?
I did, and I was amazed that it happened.
So what did describe it? Because I still don't really understand what's supposed to happen. The middle egg is supposed to spin around.
Yeah.
But how is that possible?
Well, didn't know for sure at the time, but it certainly happened. And as I say, I was amazed, because this looked staggering. So, in the true light of scientific pursuit of the truth, I did an experiment to try and
Tony, you did an experiment. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Oh, come on. What were the results? Were they excellent? Oh, guys.
Extraordinary.
Oh, Catherine, you had to go and ruin it.
Oh.
What? So what happened?
Well, what happened was I decided to get rid of the curved surfaces on the tops of the eggs from the experiment, which...
How did you get rid of... Did you sand down eggs?
No, I used a couple of mugs.
Well, me and Catherine, by the sounds of it, the way this conversation's going, yes.
No, I mean the sort of mug that you actually drink out of, rather than any other sort of mug that may spring to mind. And it still happens. But it only happens if you move one of the mugs so that the axis going exactly through the egg from the top of the bottom becomes slightly misplaced from the absolute vertical, and then the movable bit inside the egg, which gives it that peculiarity which you spoke of yesterday, adopts then a position such that if it's slightly off axis,
come back at school.
The yolk will move.
Tony, can I ask you a personal question?
Oh yes, certainly. Yeah,
do you like cocks?
Which sort of Cox?
Brian Cox, because you're explaining it in the style of Brian Cox, the cosmetologist.
Yeah. Oh, he's brilliant. But
you're explaining it in that style. You got that passion for eggs that he's got, for space.
Well, I have a passion for the pursuit of the truth. The pursuit of the truth will result in the human race.
Tony's gone nuts.
Yeah.
Tony's gone nuts. I've never heard him like this.
Is this music underneath?
Let's get some. We need some.
Calm him.
We need some calmer music. Hang on a second. Okay, let's have some calmer music. Here we go. Here we go. This will start.
Yeah, something from Calm. That was it.
Okay, we'll have this. This is a bit calmer, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
Calm down. Mark, are you following any of this?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Have you got any more eggs left, Mark, or have you dropped them all?
No, I haven't. I had the omelette last night with the remaining eggs before I threw them
still
on the
don't.
floor.
So you put yours in. I don't even know why I'm having this conversation because I've got no idea. Radio is, the theatre of the mind, and I'm supposed to be able to describe in words what's going on. I don't even understand what's going on.
It sounds like the Naked Scientist type thing. We used to do that on Radio Cambridgeshire. Brilliant.
What? Be naked?
No. You know the Naked Scientist?
No, I don't know. I don't. Anybody that calls themselves naked and isn't naked, I'm not interested in. Fraud. The naked chef. The naked scientist, the barefoot doctor, although he was barefoot actually, and he was a bit of a plum. Okay.
I'm a near naked scientist.
All right, I'm going to cut you both off now, gentlemen.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Aren't they funny though?
What, Mark and Tony?
Yeah.
They should take that to Edinburgh. Don't take it here. I still don't understand what the eggs are supposed to do.
Spin.
But Tony had his in mugs. So that means it's supernatural force. That means egg is either haunted or has its own gravitational force.
Egg is haunted.
Egg is haunted. 03459 455 555. Guys, I'm going to put it out there because I've got a feeling we might get. If we get one call on this, it's worth it. Hang on. If you've ever had haunted food, call me now. I bet that someone's got a can of peas pudding in their nan's larder or something. That's when Nana died. That peas pudding just kept rolling around all over the place, or a ghostly sausage. Someone out there. Ollie, the fishing correspondent, says, I know what I'm doing tonight. Eggs, beer, and the pursuit of truth. 03459 455 555. So Radio 4, I was in the car for a bit yesterday. It was National Poetry Day.
Oh.
How did we miss that one?
On purpose.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, guys. My friend Simon, who is sat out there with you, you should say hello to him because he's
All right, Simon.
should have introduced you earlier. We were driving along and we were talking about what we think is good about radio and what we think is bad about radio. And I said, one of the worst things I hate, poetry on the radio is awful. And old biddies phone up and they say, I've written a poem for you. No, poetry on the radio is awful. And then literally seconds after it, the announcer on Radio 4 went, and it's National Poetry Day on BBC Radio 4, and now with a 24-hour live broadcast, it's Andrew Marr with 24 hours of live poetry. And I swear to God, right, Andrew Marr was doing a live poetry show, 30 minutes every other half an hour. So on the half an hour, well, yes, I'm Andrew Marr, and today this poem we're going to... And he had all these boring old people read it out. Ian Hislop reading, like, 17th century poetry. And then some woman analyse it. This is the reason why people hate poems. 2 reasons. 1, it's rubbish. 2, because we had to analyse them at school. If something needs analysis, then it ain't worth... I tell you why the Liam Neeson series of movies Taken is good, because you can just watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it. You got it. His daughter, then it's his wife, then it's his daughter again in the third one. Beautiful. I've got it. I don't need to write an essay about it. I don't need to deconstruct it. Liam Neeson has deconstructed it himself. His daughter's been taken. He's got a gun. That's it. Poetry, you've got, like, every syllable. You've got to break it down to every flipping syllable and analyse it. What's the point of that?
And then the sound of the words. And the sound it makes.
The similes, the homilies. Homilies, are they things? Homilies. Hominies.
Homonyms.
The homonyms. There's a word I never thought I would say, and I almost didn't.
Although I had to resist joining in with a poetry phone-in on the way back from Birmingham, though, because there was one woman, and she was very compelling. I couldn't stop listening to her. And she opened up with, it's National Poetry Day. And one of my friends has come in from the office, apparently. She sounded like one of those actresses. She had one of those voices. Yeah. Thanks, Trish. Thank you very much. And she said, I thought we'd have a bit of fun with this morning.
Oh, anyone who says, I know, guys, we had a woman who worked on the show for one day about a year ago, and we were we were doing our show, you know, as we do. And she came in during the news and went, okay, guys, how about we have a little bit of fun with this? Out. What do you think we're doing? This is fun, guys.
So this actressy person said, okay, we're going to have a bit of fun with this. I'm going to throw open the phone lines and I'm going to start off a poem, and I'm hoping that you at home will help us finish it. There was a young lady named Trish. See, all I could think of was fish.
Who emptied her bowels in a dish. That's how I would have done it.
He went something like, there was a young lady, and then someone straight in there who I suspect might have been upstairs in the office because he was too quick on the draw.
Yeah.
Who went off to bed with a wish.
Oh. Hang on. There was a young lady called Trish who went to bed with a wish.
Doesn't even scam. I mean, it's got to go to fish, hasn't it?
Or well, no. That weren't done. There was a young lady called Trish who went to bed with a bish. A wish.
Oh, a bish.
A wish. She dreamt of a bone. No, hang on. No, hang on. But I know the tune to those songs. I don't know the words. And that's seriously, guys, poetry on the radio. Radio 4 was doing, and bless Andrew Marr, you know, I've still not quite worked out what Andrew Marr's for yet. I watch him and I listen to him, and I don't quite know. Apart from being tedious, I've not worked out what his power is yet.
You should know better than that, though, surely.
Surely. I mean, it was just... And he was, Andrew Marr, acting poems. Oh, dear God, it was... Oh, no.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A10 southbound on the Great Cambridge Road from Cheshunt towards the M25, there are delays. It was after the traffic lights were faulty there earlier on at College Road, but they've been fixed now, so it should start to ease off soon. In Walthamstow, on the North Circular Road, there's a lane blocked eastbound between the Walthamstow Avenue and the Cooksbury interchange, and that's causing delays from the Crooked Billets interchange. On the M25, there are queues anti-clockwise from junction 17th Maple Cross to 16 for the M40, but it's looking fine on the M1 at the moment in both directions through the roadworks between junction direction, 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. I've just opened my emails. There's loads of emails. Have I done something wrong? It normally means I've said something litigious or sweary. I'll have a look in a minute. Where are we now? 7:46, Friday the 9th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for police and councillors to rethink their decision not to have a knife amnesty in the town. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today by Luton MP Kelvin Hopkins and Wycombe MP and friend of the show, Mr. Steve Baker. Oh, I bet he'll do interviews for that. Not about a school for deaf and disabled children that's closing, though. And a former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. Let's get the weather with Elizabeth.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's certainly a very chilly start to the day. Bit of windscreen scraping going on possibly across the three counties this morning. Some mist and fog patches as well, not too dense, so they should lift and clear fairly readily through the course of the morning. There's lots of sunshine around as well. Some blue sky about this morning. Probably a bit more fair weather cloud this afternoon, but not quite as much as we saw yesterday. Top temperatures up to around 16 Celsius, 61 in Fahrenheit. So it's going to feel nice and pleasant in the sunshine with just a light breeze. Now, as we head into this evening and the overnight period, there won't be quite as much mist and fog forming because the air is going to be dry, but it will still feel really quite chilly underneath largely clear skies. Lows of around 4 or 5 degrees. It's looking dry and settled over the weekend. Perhaps just 1 or 2 showers that could form here and there, basically drifting in from the North Sea. So most likely, I think, towards eastern areas of Hertfordshire, but otherwise dry all weekend. There will be some sunny spells around at some rather chilly nights, and the wind is going to pick up. It's coming in from the east, so it's going to be feeling really quite chilly. So do allow for a significant wind chill factor, I think, on Saturday, and particularly so on Sunday, and feeling quite cold as well as we head into next week, but otherwise mostly dry. That's the forecast.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
When you need local news.
The headlines: serious injuries for Bedford cyclist and heritage windfall for Luton Museum.
When you need local travel.
M40 southbound 1 lane blocks and it's queuing 2 lorries and a caravan.
When you need local weather.
Lots of sunny spells around, more sunshine developing, of course, plenty of blue skies as we head into the afternoon.
BBC Three Counties Radio is here.
Bedfordshire Police are defending plans to halve the number of community support officers in the county.
With local, up-to-date news and travel bulletins throughout the day.
Get your travel. After Paul Young, wherever I lay my hat, that's my home.
You'll always be up to date.
That's the forecast.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
03459 we seem to have fallen in love with weather here. It's mysterious, isn't it? Does anyone ever have? I tell you what I did, because I was quite geeky as a kid, and actually my boys would love this. Those, in fact, I might get one. Those weather stations used to get in the back. But when I was at school, I lived on a council estate in Slough. So the weather station we had at the school, it was a yogurt. It was a ski pot.
Yeah.
What else did we have? We had like we had a cock, a weather cock made, a weather vane made with
a spinny on top.
I think it was made with plastic spoons. I've got a feeling. I seem to remember it being made with plastic spoons. It caught the wind.
I'm sure the Met Office used something similar.
And I used to love it. You go right. We go, and no one ever asked, why are we measuring the rain? Why are we measuring the rain in this yogurt pot? No one ever asked that, and it's an.
The answer will be because it kills half an hour.
It kills half an hour, guys. That's what it's for. Well, I might have a little now. This next story, right? Well, how do I say this?
A gliss gliss.
Is this, before I do this, right? Is this real?
Yes.
Wowzers. Okay, this is an incredible story. 5 weeks ago, a fire destroyed the lofts of 2 homes in Tring, leaving the owners homeless. The probable cause is a gliss gliss. I'd never heard of a gliss gliss. It's a type of dormouse. It was, this is fascinating. It was introduced to the town when the rodents were deliberately set free from the eccentric Walter Rothschild's private animal collection in 1902. It's like the island of Dr. Moreau. It's just...
Apparently they're massive as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm going to Google one in a second. A conference is taking place today, which has been organised by the Chiltern Woodland Project. and it features research into the Gliss Gliss. Well, it is a serious story because Andrea Lane is one of those people whose home was affected by the fire. Morning, Andrea.
Morning.
Tell us what happened.
Well, I don't sleep very well, so I happened to be awake about 1 a.m. and started hearing these little noises in the loft. And it got worse and worse, and I nudged my husband and said, "We've got a herd of Gliss Gliss up there."
Now, did you say Gliss Gliss immediately?
Yes.
Because I've never heard of them.
I know. Well, you do if you live in Tring or
Oh, okay,
the
right,
surrounding
okay.
areas,
Yeah.
because they're around here in the road that I live in. Sometimes they go in people's windows, go across the table, nick a bit of fruit, and go out again. They're quite bold.
Yeah, okay, so the people are aware of them in the area then, as being a thing. Okay, so you nudge your husband awake.
Yes, and there's this sort of scurrying, which I thought was the Gliss Gliss, because we've had them before, and I'd heard them in the cavity walls a couple of days before. And he sort of woke up and listened, and he said, "Don't think that's Gliss Gliss. I think the cat's shut in." So off he went to have a look, looked out the back window and said to me, "Quick, call the fire brigade, there's a fire."
Oh, no.
So I jumped out of bed, got the phone, ran downstairs, calling the fire brigade to go outside because it was next door in their loft.
Yeah.
To go outside and make sure that they were up. And they were actually out of their house, so they'd obviously heard it a few minutes before us.
Yeah.
And we stood there basically and watched the roofs of our houses.
Oh, gosh, Andrea, that must have been awful.
It was terrible. And we're both out now for 4 to 6 months. We're having to rent somewhere else. So it's break 2 hours, unfortunately.
Oh, flipping it. I'm assuming the insurance pays for you renting somewhere else, does it? That
Yeah.
covers that. Okay, so that's
Yes,
something. And the houses can be repaired. They're not completely. They're not complete wrecks.
No, our neighbour's house, the whole of the roof has gone. It's like a skeleton.
Oh, dear.
While we were stood there, before the lovely fire brigade got here, we think the boiler in the loft blew up on David's side. So there's a gas boiler, and there was a big bang, big massive, fireball.
Blimey.
And what we think happened then was all the weight of the tiles and things fell down and fell through the ceilings in David's. So they were very lucky because they've got 2 children.
Oh,
as well.
gosh, doesn't that make you think?
No, I know. And it was raging then. And up till then I was thinking it was just David's house, but it did spread through 2 hours after a little while.
And everyone's well and healthy and safe. No one was hurt. Okay, well that's a blessing.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, and which is a very good thing, Andrea.
Yeah.
And it will get fixed. So
yes.
Again, that's another good thing. So when do you reckon you'll be back home?
Well, they said 4 to 6 months when they first spoke to us.
Yeah. You're going to be home for Christmas?
No.
Oh.
No, because it happened in September.
Yeah,
we reckon, I don't know, March probably, because the scaffolding's only just gone up. So they put like a tin roof over the top.
Yeah.
To stop it getting any damper than it already is.
Oh, Andrea, I'm so sorry. What a horrific thing to happen. I wish you the best of luck, and I keep my fingers crossed they sort it out as soon as possible. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Okay.
Thank you. That's oh God, imagine that. We have a Gliss Gliss expert on the line. Imagine that, Catherine. Oh, dearie me. Dr. Pat Morris is a Gliss Gliss expert and is presenting a speech on the creatures at the Chilterns Woodland Conference. I'd never even heard of them, Pat. I'm looking at them. They look kind of like a cross between a sort of squirrel and a mouse type thing.
Yes, they're like small squirrels.
You've
probably not heard of them, probably because you don't live in the affected areas. The problem is quite localised.
So is it only because this fruitcake, Walter Rothschild, released these into the wild?
Well, I wouldn't call him a fruitcake, and he did so for what in those days was considered a good reason. But yes, he imported some and released them at Tring Park.
So what was his reason then? What was his good reason?
Well, this country is an island, and it has fewer animals on it than on the continent. And he and a number of other influential zoologists of the day, including the Duke of Bedford, felt that it was a good idea to make good some of the deficit. And so various things were imported, like grey squirrels, muntjac deer, edible dormice, gliscus, and
edible?
And that's what they did.
Well, you can eat them?
Well, the Romans used to eat them, and some people in Mediterranean countries have done so well into recent times. I think they still hunt them in Slovenia, for example.
Right, OK. And obviously they didn't deliberately set out to cause a fire, but can they? They can obviously cause damage.
Well, I can't comment on that particular case because I don't know what the evidence was or whether it's been proven yet, but certainly they are rodents like rats or squirrels, and they will gnaw things like electric cables, and so there is a possibility, yes. And at one time there was a story that they were gnawing the organ pipes at Aston Clinton Church and causing the thing to go out of tune. So that they will actually do gnawing, and that could cause all sorts of trouble.
You don't want anyone gnawing on an organ like that. That's going to be that's going to cause all kinds of problems. Do they serve any purpose, or should we be out there with traps?
You can't trap them because all dormice are protected throughout Europe.
Clever.
And so although they are an introduced pest here, technically they are protected species, and so you're supposed to have a licence to catch them, though I think any householders that were troubled by them seriously would be forgiven for taking action. But you have to be careful because that isn't legal, and there aren't, and you mustn't use poisons on them and so on.
And it's just in this area, Pat. They've not kind of spread out any further.
They've not spread far because they're animals typically of the high forest, and so the open areas of the Vale of Aylesbury have limited their spread to the west. But they're spreading elsewhere. They've got as far south as Reading now, and of course because people do catch them or accidentally transport them, they've been taken all over the place. So I've seen one from Essex, I've seen a stuffed one down near Winchester, they were down in the New Forest. And goodness knows where else they might be, because it takes a while for the numbers to build up sufficiently for them to be noticeable.
I'm seeing some pictures of people holding them. Are any good as pets?
They bite. They bite really nastily.
So do my kids.
So, yes, if you reared babies, they probably make pets, though being nocturnal animals, they're not very suitable. But they do bite.
All right, Pat. Listen, I've learnt something today. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate that. Fascinating. Dr. Pat Morris, a gliss expert. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you, I'd never heard of them. I did like the way he said, well, I can't comment on that as it's not been proven that they were responsible for the fire.
As if they were going to get sued.
We're not talking about an active murder case.
It's a gliss somewhere listening to the radio going, hang on, are you talking about me?
Right, a dollar sign flashing in front of their eyes.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Cheshunt, there are delays on the A10 southbound heading towards the M25 because the traffic lights at College Road weren't working earlier, but they've been fixed now, so the delays should be starting to ease off soon, but it's still looking quite busy at the moment. It's also slow on the A1 southbound from Borehamwood through the Hardy end towards Barnet Lane at the Stirling Corner, and in Watford it's busy on Beach and Grove at the turning for Escort Road, and the Bricketwood North Orbital Road M25 junction 21A roundabout's looking very slow as well. It's busy on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 17 Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. It's been, listen, I know, and I apologise, it's been a little bit quiet on the J-Dog front. We're going to have him in the next hour with a beautiful, beautiful package. 75 years old today, John Lennon would have been. J-Dog will have more.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: bereaved mother urges rethink on Wickham knife amnesty. MPs from this region backing Vote Leave campaign. And St Albans sinkhole still moving.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for police and councillors to rethink their decision not to have a knife amnesty in the town. Moya Griffiths, whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes police amnesty boxes could save lives. The idea was proposed at a Wickham District Council meeting this week, but Moya told this programme she's mortified it wasn't supported.
Well, I just hope that by speaking out, both Thames Valley Police and Wickham District Council will definitely have a change of mind and heart on this. One less knife on the street is one less knife that is going to be used to create mayhem and cause devastation. It is the families that have to suffer through all of this.
A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today, bringing together MPs and donors from the Conservatives, Labour and UKIP. Vote Leave is the second Eurosceptic group formed to fight the referendum due by the end of 2017 and includes the Conservative MP for Wickham, Steve Baker, and Labour MP for Luton North, Kelvin Hopkins. A former prison officer at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation. Simon Butler fractured his right ankle when he slipped on ice while on guard dog patrol outside the jail. More from Tony Fisher.
The High Court heard after the life-changing fall in December 2009, he developed serious complications and is now plagued by chronic pain and reduced mobility. He carries a 25% risk of amputation and is forced to rely on his son and wife. The 47-year-old sued over an alleged negligent failure to grit the area where he fell, and the Ministry of Justice accepted he should be compensated.
The family of a man from Luton who died in a plane crash on Saturday have paid tribute to him, saying he was a devoted husband and father. First Officer Francis Simmons, who was 46, died when his light aircraft came down in Chigwell. He leaves a wife and a 7-year-old son. The pilot was also killed. There are warnings that the deficit for the NHS could total £2 billion by the end of the financial year as health regulators prepare to publish the latest accounts. Experts predict the figures will show that the shortfalls are growing at a faster rate than last year. Engineers have told the BBC that the ground around the St Albans sinkhole is still moving and more cracks have appeared. The giant crater appeared 8 days ago in Fontmell Close, with several residents still not able to return to their homes. The BBC's Yvonne Hall was given access to the site yesterday, where nearly 7,000 tonnes of concrete have been pumped in.
Engineers are now constantly monitoring this site to see if the foamed concrete is stabilising the land. But they've told us this morning that the ground here is still moving, with cracks like this appearing, some of them several inches wide.
In sport, Northern Ireland's 3-1 win over Greece means they have qualified for next summer's European Championship finals, their first major finals since the 1986 World Cup. And England's Matt Fitzpatrick has a one-shot lead going into day 2 of the British Masters Golf at Woburn. The weather dry and sunny, maximum temperature 17 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Well, isn't Facebook a snarky, dark, horrible place? Until you go to the BBC Three Counties page and read the wonderful words that Adrian's written about us. Thank you, Adrian. He's written something really nice. Have you read it? Go and have a look. On the visitors post. Thank you, Adrian. I couldn't possibly comment, but thank you. Ah, dear. It's a weird show this morning, because, I mean, I don't know, are all the newspaper journalists on holiday this week? Because every day this week it's been very, very quiet in the papers. Anyway, we struggled to find something for Dealey. Dealey has gone out and about. John Lennon would have been 75 years old today. And wouldn't it be nice if he was still here, but, still releasing, we'd still be waiting for that great album that we'd all think he'd got inside him. It'd just be nice to have him around, wouldn't it? Anyway, Dealey's going to put together a John Lennon package. We're still talking about this thing we talked about yesterday, about if you've got 3 eggs on top of each other and you're holding them, the one in the middle will spin around. But I don't even know how that's possible. If I could be bothered, I'd send one of the team out to buy some eggs, but I'm not putting my hand in my pocket, and I'm not. I'm actually keener to hear you lot doing it. Boyle?
Disco Dave's got a theory about it.
Excellent. I guess maybe we'll get to hear that at some point in the day.
Across beds, hearts and
let's do it now.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's do it now. What's Disco Dave's theory?
Iain, the egg spins as the egg white, or albumin, is viscous. Also, the egg contains an air sac, causing a shift in balance.
I don't know what that
means.
means.
Stop that.
Oh, okay. So it's perpetual motion. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, well, fine. There we go. Still don't quite understand it, but I still don't even know actually what happens.
Could someone film it?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I forgot that we have the technology. If you've got a Betacam or a VHS video recorder
and 3 eggs
and a blank tape, or you only need, if you get, you can tape it after EastEnders or Ghostbusters 2. Put it in and film it and send us that video cassette recording as soon as possible. And hopefully within the next 2 weeks we'll be able to know what the heck we're talking about. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, a man has been awarded almost £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice during the course of his work at Wood Hill Prison. Simon Butler was a prison officer on guard dog patrol when he fell, fracturing his right ankle. The High Court heard that complications which developed afterwards means he now has a 25% chance of becoming an amputee. Jim Tassell is an independent health and safety consultant. Joins you now. Morning, Jim.
Good morning, Ian.
Now, we don't know the exact details of this case, but what are the kind of factors? Because I know I've had a couple of emails, and maybe I'll read some in a minute, from people kind of scratching their heads at how this much money could be awarded for someone slipping on ice at work. How does the compensation system like this work?
Well, it works really not on the basis of, was it a slip on the ice? It works on the basis of what has the person suffered as a result of the accident? So without going too close to this particular case, you've got somebody who's been injured. They're not able to pursue the life that they had before because of the accident. And the money is really only meant to make up for their needs for care, for all the things that they now need that they previously wouldn't have needed. You know, you got somebody at the age 50, they were expecting to carry on working for 15 years. So there's lost income. What about their pension? What about the care costs? And then something on top for pain and suffering. Now, if I was to say to you, right, I'm not able to work, I need compensating in terms of my lack of ability to earn, how much money do I need to set aside? Compare this to the low rate of annuities at present. How much money do I really need to set aside to get a guaranteed income over the next 15 years? And it starts to become big money.
Yeah. And listen, I'm just playing devil's advocate, Jim. This isn't necessarily what I believe. But slipping on ice, do you know what I mean? How much responsibility does a workplace have to take, and how much of it is it individual responsibility?
If it's in the workplace and if it's work-related, then the focus is first on the employer. You know, if you ask people to go out at sometime early in the morning to do a patrol, question then is, what's it going to be like, not in the middle of summer, but in the middle of winter? Now, we don't know all the circumstances. Let's not go too close.
Yeah, no, we speak vaguely about vagaries and, be general, yeah.
Really, there is an expectation that we do know that winter happens every year, and we do know that we get ice, and we do know that people slip over it on perfectly valid things. It may be as simple as you walking from the BBC car park into Three Counties Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you're coming in first thing. Actually, you're quite a good example thinking about it.
Oh, blimey, don't tempt me. This show is cursed, Jim. When we say things like this, it actually happens. So I'm going to come and sue you. But go on, use me as an example.
That's a Chinese perspective on it. If you talk about it, it'll happen. But park that for a moment. I
like you, Jim. I like you.
You know what?
You're coming back on again.
As an example, because everybody knows the BBC, and we can all talk about it. We've all got a view about it.
Yes, go on.
There will be somebody in Three Counties Radio who wears a hat that probably says something like facilities.
Yeah.
And at this time of the year, if they're doing their job properly, and I have no doubt in the BBC that they're doing exactly that.
Everything's above board here at the BBC now. It has to be.
Got to say that, haven't we?
Yeah.
No, joking apart. There will be somebody at this time of the year, or possibly last month, who's saying, how did it go last year?
Yeah.
We know we had various bits of ice and snow. How did we respond? Who's the person who comes in at 4 o'clock in the morning to open up? Who's first in? Who's able to then say, do you know what? It is slippery on the slope from the car park or whatever, and get the grit out before all the really serious people like you leap out of your Lamborghinis and head for the office.
May God bless you. So that's Simon Oxley, the newsreader. I hope he's listening. He better find out where the grit is, because it's his job to grit and salt the streets.
Well, there you go. And you see, even in somewhere like Three Counties Radio, you know the person who's going to do it.
Yeah.
We hope that Simon knows that as well.
You lot, health and safety, you get bad press, don't you? Because of all these made-up stories in the newspapers about kids aren't allowed to play conkers. It's health and safety gone mad, or I wasn't allowed to go into Asda for health and safety reasons. Health and safety, at its very essence, is about people going to work or going about their daily lives and not being killed or being seriously injured. It's quite serious. It has. Why has it developed into a sort of joke in some areas of the media, do you think, Jim?
I don't know. It's something that's developed over quite a long time. I'm absolutely with those people who say, why on earth has it got to this stage? Because behind it, health and safety has some very serious issues.
Yeah.
4,500 people a year dying from asbestos-related diseases.
Oh, we have stories, Jim. We have stories on here from people who've died just going to work. Because health and safety hasn't been followed.
Absolutely.
But you get some of the newspapers. They kind of use that phrase, and it's what's wrong with this country is health and safety. You're led to believe.
We're led to believe that. I think it's lazy thinking. Without wishing to insult anybody at Three Counties Radio, I think
insult them all.
I think it's lazy journalism.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree totally.
I think it's sometimes lazy politics. It has become a target. I struggled to look back to the when did it start. Actually, one of the early ones was the Conkers, often referred in the safety world as the Conkers Bonkers case.
Yeah. And that was made up. That has to be made up, doesn't it? That can't be a real thing.
No, it wasn't entirely.
Oh, go on.
There was, now, this is working from memory, but there was a misunderstanding of a message that went out in a primary school about conkers.
Right.
And I forget exactly what it was, but there was a head teacher. In fact, I suspect it was in your part of the world.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And I think, if I remember right, and no doubt there will be callers to put me right in due course, but it was something along the lines of a primary school teacher at this time of year was concerned about conkers.
Yeah.
And they wrote something, and it may have been a message that went home with the kids in their bags or something. I'm not quite sure, but it somehow got out to the parents, got misunderstood, and got blown up.
Yeah.
And since then, we've had what amounts to a sort of rapid rebuttal system within the health and safety executive for picking up the crazy stories and trying to lay them as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Good for them. Absolutely right. But this predated that, and it sort of bounced around and gained its own momentum long before anybody said, whoa, hang on a minute, let's get back to the underlying story. Let's apply a bit of common sense to this. And it was not the story quite as represented. It wasn't a ban on playing conkers. But that's how it came out.
Well, that's the sexy story. And Jim, you'll be pleased to know that my youngest boy went out with my wife yesterday, came back with 200 conkers. Today we're going to string them up, the conkers, and we're having a conker tournament. Me and my boys having a conker tournament in the back garden. So we've not stopped. Jim, listen, we have to move on. That was brilliant. Can I make you the official health and safety consultant for this show, Jim?
Iain, it will be a pleasure.
There's no money in it. I should have said that first of all.
Well, not so sure about that then.
We'll discuss it off air. Jim, thank you. You're a good sport. Absolutely fascinating. Jim Tassell, independent health and safety consultant. He was a good egg, wasn't he? Yeah, conkers today. They came back with like a big box full of conkers. And, I can't remember how you string them up, though. I can't remember how you make the hole in it.
You need I'll tell you what you can use, a screwdriver.
Screwdriver. And how long do I bake them for, and when do I put the concrete in? Because I want to beat
cheating.
those. Oh, well, you say cheating. I say it's just having a slight advantage.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Beaconsfield, there's been an accident on Amersham Road at the turning for Maxwell Road, so that's closed the road in both directions at the moment. In New Barnet on Great North Road, there's reports of an accident at Lionsdown Road, and in Cheshunt it's very slow on the A10 Great Cambridge Road southbound around College Road heading towards the M25 because the traffic lights aren't working. Looking at the speed sensors in Dunstable, and it's looking very busy at the moment on Stockingstone Road between the New Bedford Road and Hitchin Road. No reported problems on the trains though at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Right, 8:16. It's Friday, the 9th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for police and councillors to rethink their decision not to have a knife amnesty in the town. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today, backed by Luton MP Kelvin Hopkins and Wycombe MP Steve Baker. And a former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail.
In a recent survey, we asked 47 people who they'd most like to wake up with.
I would like to wake up next to my beautiful girlfriend Daisy.
Be waking up with Angelina Jolie, I can assure you.
Tomorrow I'd like to wake up next to Dave here because at least I'll be alive.
But there was one name missing off that list.
Justin Dealey. Justin Dealey.
Justin Dealey. Saturday mornings from 6. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Who is Justin Dealey?
I have never heard of him.
Gosh, well, some people imagine that some people have never heard of Justin Dealey. Well, that's kind of.
This is where I belong to be.
You see, that's it. The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for a weapons amnesty. Moira Griffiths, if you missed it, we spoke to her about an hour ago. Boy, oh boy, was her story incredible. Whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes that police amnesty boxes could save lives. The idea was proposed at a Wycombe District Council meeting this week, but it was not supported by the council's leader. They ain't coming on the show to talk to us. Instead, they sent us a bit of as they always are, a bland statement to all councillors, MPs and various bosses of organisations. If you send a statement, it makes you sound cold. It makes you sound cold. Julia Wassell from the East Wycombe Independent Party is campaigning for an amnesty. Julia, does Wycombe have a massive problem with knife crime?
No, I don't think it has an exceptional problem, but I think UK-wide there is a problem with knife crime. I speak to young people regularly, and some of them are frightened about gangs, and they end up carrying a knife in self-defence, and they're more likely to become a victim of knife crime as a result. So I don't think Wycombe is exceptional. We've had one or two incidents recently, and my little political party, we just thought it would be a standard practice for the councils to support a gun and knife amnesty. So we were shocked when we got a refusal on that.
You mentioned the young people that are carrying knives because they're scared. Well, they're not going to follow through with an amnesty, are they? Because they'll still be scared.
Well, I think some of them will, and I think the thing is that young people grow up and move beyond that point where they're carrying knives, and they don't want them around the house. There could be burglary, knives or guns stolen if they were in the house. I mean, I think young people quickly grow out of teenage crime and knife carrying, and then they want to dispose of these items.
Do we have any statistics that this work? We know that when they do have these amnesties around the country, that those bins get filled up with knives and daggers and machetes and all kinds of things, and those things also get handed over. But do we know if it actually has an impact on knife crime?
I suppose it's one of those things you'd never know with hindsight. But speaking to Moira Griffiths recently, she said if it just prevents one crime and any mother having the experience that she's had or any young person getting harmed, then it's worth it. And I think it says something about society, you know, that we're trying to prevent crime rather than waiting for something to happen. And we shouldn't have to have enormous knife crime in Wycombe for the council to back something like this, especially when it's got somebody like Moya Griffiths advocating for it.
Katrina Wood from Wickham District Council didn't want to come on, didn't think it was important enough to come on, but sent a statement. Wickham District Council sent this statement. The number of reported violent crimes in the Wickham District has increased a little. We are told in these circumstances that Thames Valley Police would not ordinarily launch a knife and gun amnesty. Then they tell us to go and talk to the police and not the council. But it was the council that objected to it.
It was the council that objected to it, and, I've been sort of involved with advertising these amnesties in the past, and I don't think it's particularly controversial.
Are they They're not that. I wouldn't imagine they're that expensive to run either, are they? I mean, there'll be a small outlay, I would have thought.
Well, I went into the police station to ask, and they just said that they ordered a bin when they have these amnesties, and obviously there's, the staffing cost. But I think it would be a small price to pay to prevent any future crime. And I just think it says something about agencies working together, concern about previous victims, prevention for the future. And, it gives the message out, you don't need to carry a knife or gun. If Wickham's that safe, well, just give up what you've got. And they've been successful in the past.
Julia, thank you very much. Nice to talk to you. Julia Wassell from the East Wickham Independent Party.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. Hey, here's a story. Here's a story. Things that make you go, ugh. And do you know what I've not had since eating meat? It's been a good 18 months now that I've been chomping down on sausages after 26 years of vegetarian. I've not had fish and chips in the traditional sense of the battered fish and indeed the chips. Not a massive fish fan, right?
Oh, I love it.
But when I was in Brighton the other week, I should have had fish and chips, proper fish and chips on the beach. Anyway, a restaurant diner got an unwelcome surprise when a fish they had started eating began twitching on their plate.
Haunted fish.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the haunted food. Here is a fish brought back from the dead. Oh, by the way, morning, Danny.
Hiya.
Yeah, thanks. I've been waiting for you to say good morning to me all morning.
You haven't had my microphone. I've just been sitting here going, morning, morning.
I would have heard it over there. I would have heard it over her microphone, so that's not washing with me, young man.
No, try it.
Go on. Morning. Thank you.
No, you didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard it.
No, you didn't.
What I didn't hear, though, was the sound of me slurping on a lovely cup of coffee.
No, I've not heard that for a while.
Not heard that for a while.
Oh. Do you want some coffee?
Listen, if you want to make it in the BBC, there are two routes. One is the 1970s route, which we're not really supposed to go down anymore, but I can make exceptions.
Okay.
The second route is cup of coffee route. I suggest that that's a slightly easier route to take.
A lecturer actually said that to me at university.
Really?
That if you want to get a job in the media, make coffee.
Yes, no, definitely.
You went to university with Electro.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Electro actually said that to me at university. Electro 6?
Yep.
That's a breakdancing reference.
He was my lecturer.
Wow, Electro the Lecturer. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Think about what you've just done whilst pouring hot water into a cup of brown stuff. Coffee! Before you get ideas above your station. Dennis!
Good morning.
Now, someone sent me something. I've not heard it yet. Shall we have a listen?
Yes.
Playing a very dangerous game here. If I press my comma, this comes up.
It's Dennis from Dunstable. It's Dennis from Dunstable.
Who the hell put that in?
I think, and it's difficult. I think that's from Russ. And I guess at the end of those things, you're meant to say thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we're meant to say thank you.
Well, I don't know that. It's nothing to do with me, I promise you. I rang up about your conkers.
It's chance to be a fine thing.
Personal.
Go on.
Yes, I had a man looked at yesterday because they thought I got a hernia. However, conkers dipped in vinegar and then dried are in fact dangerous because they splinter. When you get a very hard conker and they hit it and it splinters, that's time that
it's called a win.
Safety.
Just you know what? Just grow up.
Why?
Grow. When I say grow up, I mean.
To a 90-year-old man.
Yeah. Come on, guys. If a conker splinters, so what?
Kids' eyes.
Safety specs.
How many? Of course, all of our children will be wearing hazmat suits when they play conkers.
Yeah, that's right.
How many kids have been killed by conkers?
I don't know.
And how many kids have been blinded by conkers dipped in
No,
vinegar?
I'm not.
I'll tell you. None.
Well, I'll tell you what.
None.
Yours might be the first.
Oh.
Were you threatening me?
No, I'm not warning you. We used these things like conkers. It was a season in my day.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
You see?
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
It's
Yes.
disgusting threatening a child like that. Well, it's conker season now.
Yes, but I'm saying we used to have things like marbles were one season, bowl and hoop was another. And for some reason or other, these seasons kept coming up.
Now,
I
listen,
don't know who
Dennis.
decided them, but they happened.
Normally, we don't do old toys from the 70s, but as you're talking about the 1870s, I think we can just about get away
Can
with
we
it.
title it Stuff That Can Have Your Eye Out?
We did. Steady on. We used to have marble season as well. Yes, the seasons would come and they would go, and it was unwritten, it was unspoken. It just one day all the kids would turn up with marbles, and that was that.
And can I suggest for your rhyming thing, how about limericks? Get some decent limericks in.
Nope. Not going to do that. It's poetry on the radio.
Decent limericks.
Decent limericks.
Think about that, guys.
The fish, with its severed head besides its diced up body, was in a sweet and sour stew. Doesn't this sound deliciously disgusting? But when the customer prodded it with chopsticks, its fins started to flap. However, the diner wasn't fazed and continued tucking in.
Determined.
There are some places where there are some animals you eat alive, aren't there? Yeah, there are some that you're supposed to eat. Well, I know you cook lobsters alive. That's just, I mean, come on, guys. If that's awful. At least put a blindfold on it if you're going to do
You
that.
put them in the freezer first and they get hypnotised, apparently.
No, they don't. They get cold. Freezers make you cold. Hypnotists hypnotise you. You've confused the two yet again.
Don't.
Anyway, no wonder you've
My act isn't taking off and now I know why.
You've not given up smoking, but you have got frostbite. That's the reason. 03459. I knew there was a gag in there somewhere. We had to burrow around and we managed to find it. Dennis, you still there?
Yes.
Why?
Why? Because I've got nothing else to do. I missed it. I thought it was Saturday.
No,
today. And I woke up and heard you talking. I thought, bloody hell, he's working Saturdays as well.
Well, we are working Saturdays. Me and Kath doing a show now, midday till 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoons.
I thought it was the morning one, so I thought,
no,
bloody,
here's the thing, right?
I've lost the day.
Everybody I know thought that yesterday was Friday. Everybody. I thought it was Friday. My boy thought it was Friday. His teacher thought it was Friday. A man in the street thought it was Friday. 4 people, including me, yesterday thought it was Friday.
Well, I saw the kids coming out of school opposite, and they weren't well dressed up like Fridays. That's what threw me.
Dennis, there are many things that throw you, and the kids not coming up like they weren't well dressed like it was Fridays would certainly throw anybody.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Beaconsfield, there's been an accident on Amersham Road, so it's blocked in both directions at the moment at the junction for Maxwell Road. And on the Great North Road in New Barnet, there's reports of an accident at Lionsdown Road. In Cheshunt, it's very slow still on the A10 Great Cambridge Road from College Road approaching the M25 after the College Road traffic lights weren't working earlier. And on the A1M, it's very busy southbound around junction 7 for Stevenage. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. It's conker season, guys. Get out there, get some cheap. You want your free entertainment for your kids at the weekend? Go out with a basket and get a load of conkers. Stringing mine up later on today. It's going to be a conker tournament in the Lee back garden, guys.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for police and councillors to rethink their decision not to have a knife amnesty in the town. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today, backed by Luton MP Kelvin Hopkins and Wycombe MP Steve Baker. And a former prison officer at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Northern Ireland's 3-1 win over Greece last night means they've qualified for next summer's European Championship finals, their first major finals since the 1986 World Cup. Watford defender Craig Cathcart was in the Northern Irish team, with MK Dons duo Lee Hodson and Ben Reeves and Luton's Paddy McCourt among the subs. The Republic of Ireland will join them if they win in Poland on Sunday. That's after a 1-0 win over world champions Germany in Dublin. But Scotland are out after conceding a last-minute equaliser to draw 2-2 at home to Poland. Tonight, England, who have already qualified, host Estonia, with former MK Dons midfielder Dele Alli set to make his debut. There are no matches tomorrow for Watford, MK Dons or Wycombe because of the internationals. Luton host York in League 2 with Stevenage away to Exeter on Sunday lunchtime. Luton will check on the fitness of striker Craig McHale-Smith with Jack Marriott standing by to replace him. Manager John Still hopes another striker, Paul Benson, will resume training on Monday.
We're hoping that he can gradually up his training throughout the course of the week, and the following week we're hoping it's all systems go for him, but we'll have to see with that, but that's what we're hoping.
And elsewhere in football, new Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp will give his first Anfield press conference at 10 o'clock this morning. England's Matt Fitzpatrick has a one-shot lead going into day 2 of the British Masters Golf at Woburn. The 21-year-old carded a 7-under par 64 yesterday. Buckinghamshire's Luke Donald is 3 shots back.
This course would probably play a little bit better firm and fast, but in October it's hard to get that. But certainly, it's a good design, and shame it's a little wet from the rain we had earlier in the week, but it's actually playing pretty well.
And practice has been delayed for Sunday's Russian Grand Prix because of a diesel spillage on the track. Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton leads the Drivers' Championship by 48 points, with 5 races left this season. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Mark has sent... Thank you, Simon. Mark has sent... There's some weird texts coming in. One says, weird show, weird presenter. And then Mark
Thanks,
says...
Wendy.
Mark says... who is that?
Wendy.
Which Wendy? Not that
just
one.
a Wendy that writes in quite a lot.
Well, thank you, Wendy. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And Mark's written... Very high quality today. Thanks.
Thanks.
What do you mean? The signal? Because it certainly ain't the content. 03459 4555. I miss Dealey. Let's get Dealey on. Whenever he's ready. I can see him beavering away at the computer.
I'll tell him to stop that.
Look, he's giving me the thumbs up. Look, yes, you're not allowed to do that. One of the few pluses about being in this place is when I'm sat here in the studio, I can see out and I can see the minions working. Okay, and I can see Dealey. All I can see is his forehead, and he's got headphones on. He's working hard.
Or is he vaping?
He's yes. That's it. We're applauding each other from about 50 feet away. I don't know why, but I feel better for it, and that's the only the only thing that counts these days. I'm stalling while I try and turn to page 31.
Well, we're going to speak to Becky in a minute about that dog thing.
Which dog thing?
You know the dog, the old lady's dog that was stopping the post.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
We've
yes.
got an update coming up with Becky.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that now?
We can if you want.
Well, should we? It's interesting because I'm turning. By the way, bang on 9 o'clock. We need to go if we're going to make that hotel buffet breakfast.
Sorted.
So it's just no messing around. Go, okay? Because it finishes at 9:30, and I don't want to miss it. It's funny because the story I'm looking for is a story about dogs. All right, well we'll do this, and then we'll do the story that's in the paper. The story about that. We'll set the story, Catherine. The Royal Mail story. Go on.
This is Wadden Chase. We heard last week that Royal Mail had stopped deliveries to over 120 homes in Aylesbury after a postman was attacked by the same dog 3 times. The latest incident happened when the dog slipped its collar whilst being walked by its owner. So it wasn't simply a matter of the dog in the garden. It was out at large, and the dog was owned by an older woman who has a bit of trouble walking. It's and a lot of people were very reticent to be harsh about the older woman. It's clearly her kind of only companion. A lot of anger towards the post office, though.
Yeah, a lot of anger towards the post office, and they stopped delivering the post. But well, we can get an update from one of the people. What lives on the street? It's Becky. Morning, Becky.
Good morning.
So this has been going on for how many days have you been without post?
It's been about a week, but we got a letter yesterday saying that they're re-delivering our post now.
Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic. There must have been a huge collective sigh of relief throughout the whole street.
I'm sure there was.
What's changed though? Because as far as we know, and we've learnt that the lady, the elderly lady in question, that may have some difficulties, mental difficulties. We don't quite know, which is why I'm being a little bit vague. But what's changed in regards to the dog? Then have they said?
All it said in the letter was that the police and other authorities have spoken to the lady and have told her not to walk the dog before 2:00.
Okay.
So that the postman can deliver the post safely.
Okay. And well, it'll be interesting to see if this woman adheres to that or not. Catherine, you're pulling a face.
That kind of solves the Royal Mail's problem, but what about everybody else? If this dog is running around biting people...
Yeah, it'll be. Well, I think
if she's having trouble, surely that can't be the end of the attempts to help her, can it?
Well, I think the counsellor's getting involved, didn't they? When we spoke to, it was Robert, wasn't it? I think we spoke to. He said that a counsellor was possibly going to get involved.
The other thing is she's agreed to keep the dog muzzled in the past, and that's not happened.
Yeah.
So wait and see.
Let's keep our fingers crossed, Becky, because it is a real pain in the backside. When your post isn't getting delivered, it is a real nuisance. Well, fingers crossed. That'll be that. And let's hope this lady get the help she needs, you get your letters, no more postmen get attacked, and everyone lives happy and wonderful and fruitful lives.
Let's hope so. We'll see what happens.
Nice one, Becky. Thanks so much for coming back on. I really appreciate it.
You've got our number, Becky.
You've got our number if anything else happens.
Becky, thank you so much.
I can hear him.
I know, isn't he loud though?
So loud. Anyway, this is this story. There's two stories about nuts people. Right, and it says here nuts. Lynn is nuts for her mutts.
What?
Lynn is nuts.
Dangerous combination.
What do you think about that, son?
It's disgusting.
Isn't it just? Lynn is nuts for her mutts. That's in a newspaper.
They've been high-fived around that office.
I live with 41 dogs, and they'll get the house over my girl.
She won't want it, it'll stink.
And the thing is, right, and this is the thing, dog people, because I've got a dog and I'm not getting on with her. But my house now stinks of dog. And everyone that says, "Oh, my house doesn't stink," it does. You just don't know it stinks. I've got my nouse. I've kept my nouse. I know that my house stinks of dog. Every time I walk in, I go, "Oh, I've got a doggy house now." Flipping dog. Shout walkies at Lynn Everett's house and Now, this woman can't be well, right? You speak about when it says nuts for mutts. She's I suggest that she is not well. Shout walkies at Lynn Everett's house and face a stampede by all 41 of her beloved dogs. 41 dogs. I mean, it's just... Hello? Who's that? It's only the Kinks. Here come the Kinks, guys. No, she's mad about the pooches who just about squeeze into her 3-bedroom semi along with hubby Anthony. She's married.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
The 59-year-old is so devoted to the pack, she's leaving her home to them in her will. This is what I don't like, right? People, I love animals. As I was a vegetarian for a long time, I have at various times supported various animal rights charities. I even presented an award at the Cats Protection League Awards several years ago. It was me. It was the girl from CBBC who was in the newspaper with her boobies out, and it was the Sarah Jane. And it was Dorian from Birds of a Feather. We're all there presenting awards.
I was going to tell you off for saying tarty, but I think that was the act.
It really was. It wasn't an act. It really was a star-studded bash. As we handed out, I'll bring in. I've got a book. Right. Celebrities and their pets. Who's in it? This guy.
Gosh.
I was also in the Cats Protection League newsletter. The interview with me about my cat.
They didn't ask you to do a naked calendar.
I'll dig that out. It's fun. It was fun. That I like the Cats Protection League. That's where I got my cat from. That's why I did stuff for them. But then they didn't have to go on. Anyway, the 59. She said people. That's it. People who think that animals are more important than humans. And you always get they think if they haven't got a voice for themselves, someone's got to stick up for them. Yeah, that's right. But they're definitely more important than human beings and people. No, they're not. No, guys. People are more important than animals. Most sane people know that to be a fact, don't they?
I mean, aren't we level pegging?
We're doing what?
Are we level pegging though, really?
What, with animals?
Well, yeah.
Look at the food chain, baby. You look at the food chain.
I know, but I wouldn't want to slap a chimp or anything like that. I think that we should give them respect.
Some of those chimps, though, are so cocky. I mean, literally, I told you what happened when I took my a girlfriend years ago to Monkey World.
Same tasting women, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it was. You know, there were children present as well, and you just think, for goodness sakes.
They don't know.
No, the children, they did though.
No, I mean the chimps don't know.
Lynn says the
What do you
dogs.
think of the children?
The dogs will think about the children. The dogs will stay here and get the house. Any money that's left over will go to her daughter. The pack adds up. Here we go. Listen to this. Let's go.
Who's going to look after these dogs?
The shopping list of animals: 25 French bulldogs, 10 bull terriers, 3 Chinese crested, and 3 chihuahuas.
Oh, they're sharp dogs.
Lynn and Anthony from Barnsley, married 20 years ago, but have not been on holiday since their honeymoon. Oh, I mean, here come the stats, guys. You ready? Instead, the couple pick up 120 poops a day. It is a dog. A healthy dog will poop 3 times a day. It's,
Who needs a holiday when you've got that kind of activity going on?
It's just. Do you want to hear some of their names?
Yes. Gary, Wendy, Steve, Pam.
There's a Tina.
Knew it. Human names. I knew it.
There's a Ping.
Oh.
There's a Shakira. And there's a Nunus.
You can't call a dog.
Nunus! No. I've lost my Nunus. Have you seen my Nunus anywhere? Yeah, they're there. No, the dog. So that's one kind of doggy story that's in the newspapers. And I thought this was... where's the mirror? I need to find the mirror. Because I thought this was the same doggy story. Hang on a second.
There's more than one, though.
First of all, I thought it was the same person. Because they both look a bit...
similar.
Genderless.
Oh.
Now, this is... I'm reluctant to do this because this is a Britain's Got Talent puff story, but...
Just don't mention it.
Boom, boom, boom. Help me, help me, help me from this squeeze. 60 animals in a 3-bed home cost me a wife. Magician chose to put animals first. I mean, this again, human beings are more important than animals. Fact.
They're not his dogs. He's their man.
A Britain's Got Talent star split up with his wife of 4 years because he shared his semi with more than 60 animals. Hang on a second. What? Hang on. Let me read that again. A Britain's Got Talent star split up with his wife for 4 years because he shared his semi with more than 60 animals. That's what it said.
That's grounds for divorce, right?
Oh
there.
gosh, and then you get to his name.
No.
Magician Steve Lucock and Claire got to the latter stages of Britain's Got Talent with their animalgeek magic show. But the crowded house became too much for Claire and they split. I don't think it's because of the animals. You look at the state of him, he looks like Bon Jovi. Steve isn't too lonely, though. He has 4 turtles in the bathroom. 4 turtles in the bathroom. You need to get a cleaner, dude. Seriously. Or a plumber.
Gosh.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the day. I haven't got me echo, so don't worry.
For the turtles.
3 foxes that sleep on the sofa, 2 meerkats that watch TV with him, and look at this. Warren Manger, who's written this story, is showing off now.
Mangy?
What do you call a collection of owls?
I thought they were solitary beasts.
No. Well, no, because they have to have families.
A sanctuary?
Books.
No. What did you say, boy?
A sanctuary.
No, incorrect.
Oh.
A hoot?
A parliament.
Oh.
Yes, and
nice.
it says here, an entire parliament of owls, several parrots, a raccoon, snakes, and even a skunk. He said, I don't have much of a life outside of my animals. I don't go anywhere or do anything. I'm sure there are people who think I'm totally crazy.
Yep.
But I love my life and my animals to bits. And that is the problem. I think you're loving your animals perhaps just a little bit too much. I mean, really.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Beaconsfield on Amersham Road, that's blocked in both directions at the junction for Maxwell Road because of an accident between a car and a motorbike. In New Barnet on Great North Road, there's reports of an accident at Lionsdown Road, and on the Great Cambridge Road southbound in Cheshunt, it's very slow approaching the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. That's after some traffic lights at the turning for College Road were faulty earlier on. In St Albans, it's busy on the A414 eastbound between the North Orbital Road and the Park Street roundabout, and on the A1M, it's still very busy southbound at junction 7 for Stevenage. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. Hey, we're nearly done for today. Don't forget, Catherine and I back tomorrow at midday. 8:45, Friday the 9th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for police and councillors to rethink their decision not to have a knife amnesty in the town. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today, backed by Luton MP Kelvin Hopkins. And a former prison officer at Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice outside the jail. Coming up, we'll have your phone calls. We'll have a little bit of Dealey as well. First of all, let's get the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's been a very chilly start to the morning. We've seen temperatures down to the low to mid single figures. Rising now, of course, in the sunshine. Lots of blue sky and sunshine around today. Possibly a few mist patches still lingering. So do take care of your driving. Poor visibility in some areas. But all in all, it's going to be a lovely day. There could be a bit of fair weather cloud as we head into the afternoon, but not as much as we saw yesterday. Top temperatures will be up to around 15 or 16 Celsius. That's 61 in Fahrenheit. A very pleasant day with just a light breeze. Now, for this evening and overnight, it's going to stay dry with clear skies. Some drier air, so I don't think that mist and fog is going to be too much of a problem into tomorrow morning. The breeze will pick up slightly as well. Still lows of around 4 or 5 degrees in some of the more rural spots, so a chilly start to the weekend. Now, the weekend should be mostly dry. We may just see perhaps a couple of showers over parts of Hertfordshire, but they're pretty unlikely. I think most places will be dry. There'll be some sunny spells around at times, but also quite a bit more cloud than today, and a rather chilly and a strengthening easterly breeze, so we have to factor in for a bit of wind chill, I think, on Saturday, and particularly so on Sunday, but dry too into next week, but rather chilly. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Hey, there's a breaking news story. We're just putting new batteries into Paul Scoynes, and we'll speak to him in 51 seconds.
Every weekday morning.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning. Do you think it's right to tell 1 million disabled people they should get off benefits and find a job?
Have your say on today's big phone-in.
People who are going to be a nuisance are going to be a nuisance regardless of whether there are things to do.
Is it true that people over the age of 65 drink far too much booze?
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
Waited and the receipt came out, but the cash didn't.
It's become a problem of late because obviously the trees got bigger as we've got here.
We couldn't shut the French windows. It would appear that they'd buckled.
I had a phone call from my daughter saying if we don't get off the train, they're going to hand us over to the British Transport Police.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, so we've been talking about how basically local police, all police forces across the country are struggling with cash and they're having to make massive cuts. And we've been talking about how this new method of calculating how the money is divided is being introduced. And Bedfordshire Police, in particular, were hopeful that they were talking confidently. Ollie Martins, the PCC, and we spoke to, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the Deputy Chief Constable, earlier in the week. They were kind of pretty confident that they were going to get a few more quid because of the way it's funded at the moment. It could be argued it's not particularly fair. Well, we've just found out what's going to happen, and to give us the details on that, and Paul Scoynes. I've summed that up accurately, haven't I, Paul? That's kind of the gist of it.
Absolutely, Ian. That's completely correct. So you're absolutely right. The police were
privately sounding fairly positive that they'd got a good deal from this new funding formula.
Well, not even privately. On air, they were saying, look, we don't know for sure, but we're pretty, we think, Ollie Martin saying, we think we're going to get more money. The Deputy Chief Constable saying, we think we're going to get more money. The figures have just been announced, is that right?
Well, that's right. I've just had a press statement from the Police and Crime Commissioner's office, and they're saying that the Home Office has unveiled these figures, and they are asking Beds Police to remain in exactly the same position. They're going to get the same amount of funding formula that they always have done. So it's about 0.9% of the National Police grant. And Ollie Martins, the PCC, is described as being shocked, saying that the Conservative government is playing politics with Bedfordshire's policing, but also with national security. It's particularly strong line here, saying that if there is a serious terrorist incident involving extremists connected with Luton, the responsibility is theirs, i.e. the Home Office's, and not that of the ridiculously overstretched and under-resourced Bedfordshire Police. It goes in then to go into some of the detail about the extent to which Bedfordshire Police receives much less funding per officer, per area and per crime than anywhere, well, near enough anywhere else in the country. Now, this was going to be a big funding change. The idea was, I was led to believe, through those sort of private conversations, was that there would be some losers. They probably would be some of the more the larger metropolitan forces, which are funded very well. Indeed, the Met Police gets a lot of funding, but when I spoke to the new Chief Constable, who's from the Met, saying that when he came up to Bedfordshire, he couldn't believe it. He thought, there'd almost been an abundant sort of riches down in London, but coming up here with big challenges in places like Luton and Dunstable, he couldn't believe just how few resources he'd had. Well, it looks like they're going to have to cut their cloth accordingly still, because they're going to be in this precious situation.
You say that, Paul. I'm looking at the statement here, which you emailed on to me. And the penultimate paragraph is this is from the pen of Ollie Martins, or at least from his department.
Yeah.
The penultimate paragraph, it doesn't make good reading. Earlier this year, the spending watchdog, the National Audit Office, criticised the Home Office for not understanding the impact of its funding reductions on individual forces and not knowing what a failing police force actually looks like. Because we have already restructured, collaborated and cut to the bone to make savings, the implication being they can't cut much more, I fear Bedfordshire may be about to find out what unviable means for a police force. That's pretty damning.
Yeah. I think this is the strongest sort of I've heard this Police Crime Commissioner speak about this funding issue that they have. We have yet to speak to the Police Minister, Mike Penning, at Hemel Hempstead MP. I know there's been sort of conversations between he and the MPs of Bedfordshire. But it now seems to mean that Bedfordshire Police is going to struggle even further in the next few years to try and make ends meet. And when they talk about any kind of potential terrorist attack, a terrorist incident that originates in the county being on the hands of the Home Office, that is pretty bluntly saying that we can't do any more now.
Ollie Martin's referendum to get more cash from the council tax, or for council taxpayers to pay a little bit more, was rejected quite solidly. Now there's Colette Paul standing down. Is it Colette Paul? Yes, that's her name.
Yes, she's been replaced by John Boucher, who's the new Chief Constable.
And now this blow, which isn't obviously Ollie Martin's fault, but all of these things, he's had a bad run for the last 12 months. I wouldn't want to be in his job and wouldn't be in his position. And B, is his position becoming more and more untenable?
Well, I don't know whether or not it's his. I mean, his job is to hold the police to account and also to set the policing strategies and effectively try and ensure that the budget is spent correctly. It's not a job which looks at how the force polices the county on the ground, but it is it highlights that all public services are facing extreme difficulty, not least the police. And when you look to other counties, Thames Valley, large force, sort of covers a wide area, but they're doing all right in terms of funding. Hertfordshire doing all right in terms of funding. They've not needed to raise their council tax in the last few few cycles. I mean, Bedfordshire Police really doesn't know quite where it's going to get the money from now, and they were kind of banking on this.
Yeah, they were.
Paul, they really were kind of banking on this in order to just keep going till 2019.
Listen, we're coming to the end of the show, and I've got to speak to Justin. Thank you very much for that. There'll no doubt be more about that throughout the day on BBC Three Counties Radio. Justin's on Fader 3. Morning, Justin.
Good morning, boss.
It's been quiet from you this morning, but there's been nothing in the papers, and I know you've been working really hard on this John Lennon package.
Yeah.
But there's more of you tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock. The kids can tune in and listen to you 6 till 9.
Yep, it's our first one tomorrow. Saturday breakfast, 6 till 9 tomorrow morning. We've got Gatesy on the programme. Gareth Gates is coming on.
I'm glad you clarified, because I don't think people know him as that.
Oh,
yes.
no, people know him as Gatesy. We've got Brian Paul, we've got X and Y, we've got a local band in the studio, and a new feature. We've been out and about this morning getting voices from the streets. They are the voiceover for this, The Wheel of Four Tunes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love it. But today would have been John Lennon's 75th birthday.
Yeah.
You've taken Lennon to the streets.
I have. I've put together a little tribute package here. Now, what I would say, most radio stations would get a week to work on something like this. So I put this together in an hour and a half or so. So I hope it's going to be okay. John would have been 75 years old today. Here is our tribute package. In 1962, John Lennon started the music revolution, Love Me Do, which kicked off Beatlemania.
For the people in the cheaper seats, clap your hands. And the rest of you, if you just rattle your jewellery.
A working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home and they hit you at school.
Yoko has been speaking in Iceland, where the Imagine Peace Tower will be lit, and here she describes what she thinks John would be like today.
I think he would still be very, very young and active. But, you know, it's just like when we were together, he'd be constantly thinking about creative things.
Peace.
We are humorists. We're Laurel and Hardy, that's John and Yoko. And we stand a better chance under that guise, because all the serious people like Martin Luther King and Kennedy and Gandhi got shot.
Chilling words from an interview at the Apple offices in 1969. Well, on this special day, here's what the streets had to say.
He was the best one from the Beatles, definitely.
Yeah?
He was number one.
Would have been 75 years old today. It's incredible, isn't it?
It is shocking.
Was he the one you always fancied the most?
Yes. Talented one.
Thank you, madam. Shirley, you saw John and the Beatles in Luton in the 1960s. Come on, tell us how amazing that night was.
It was really nice. Screaming all night.
As far as I'm concerned, John Lennon is the Beatles. Can't stand Paul McCartney. It's John Lennon.
Come on, let's not have a dig on this special day.
John Lennon, fantastic. Brilliant bloke.
John's son Sean also has his birthday today. He's 40 years old, the same age when John was murdered on the 8th of December 1980. That day, the world was robbed, but his music and legend will never go away. Happy birthday, John.
Oh no, don't end with this song. Oh, it breaks my heart. Oh, it breaks my heart. Oh. That song, Dealey, breaks my heart.
Absolutely.
Do you know what? We've got 20 seconds, and we've got to finish. That was brilliant. Well done. Thank you, Paul Gambaccini. You better look out, boss, because this guy's coming. Do you know what shocked me the most about that?
Go on.
Sean Lennon's 40. Flipping heck.
Yep.
When did he grow up?
Today, on this day as well. It's incredible, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. Justin, listen, excellent stuff. Good luck tomorrow.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's been an accident in Beaconsfield on Amersham Road, so that's blocked in both directions at Maxwell Road. On the M25, it's busy anti-clockwise between junction 16 for the M40 and 15 for the M4. And it's also slow on the A1 in Borehamwood, southbound between Holiday Inn and Stirling Corner. And in New Barnet on the Great North Road, there's an accident at Lionsdown Road. In Cheshunt, it's slow on the A10 Great Cambridge Road, approaching the M25 from College Road, where the traffic lights weren't working earlier. And in Wyboston on the A1, it's very slow southbound, approaching the Black Cat roundabout from the St Neots Junction. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. That's it, that's your lot. There'll be a new podcast up in a few hours. Thank you, Danny, for all your help this week. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Catherine. Justin, thank you very much. Have fun tomorrow at 6. Don't forget, Catherine and I will be going down the rabbit hole tomorrow at midday. So I got a bit confused. I don't know what happened. You come have a listen. You can phone in, you can have a chat, or you can just listen to us. It doesn't matter. Right, JVS is up next until tomorrow at midday from us. Ta-ta!
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Friday. We've made it. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's Big Phone In, is it right to claim compensation when things go wrong? A prison guard has been awarded £500,000 in compensation after slipping on ice at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes. Simon Butler was on guard dog patrol when he fell and fractured his right ankle. The High Court heard that complications since the fall mean he now has a 25% chance of needing an amputation. Well, the Ministry of Justice argued he should have taken some responsibility for his own safety, but the judge has said they must take 80% of the blame. Well, I want your thoughts on this morning. Is it right to claim compensation when things go wrong? 03459 455 555. That's my telephone number for your call.
This is the JVS show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
So I'll hope to hear from you in just a second, but first let's get the latest BBC News at 9 o'clock. Here's Simon Oxley.
The headlines: no increase in funding for Bedfordshire Police, bereaved mother's plea for Wickham knife amnesty, and St Albans sinkhole still moving.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Bedfordshire Police say the government will not be increasing their funding. In a statement released in the last hour, the Beds Police and Crime Commissioner Ollie Martins says their funding will be unchanged. A Home Office task force had been sent in to examine the force's finances. Our political reporter Paul Scoyne says the Commissioner has criticised the government's stance.
It's particularly a strong line here saying that if there is a serious terrorist incident involving extremists connected with Luton, the responsibility is theirs, i.e. the Home Office's, and not that of the ridiculously overstretched and under-resourced Bedfordshire Police.
The mother of a 20-year-old man who was stabbed to death in High Wycombe is calling for police and councillors to rethink their decision not to have a knife amnesty in the town. Moya Griffiths, whose son Jordan was murdered 6 years ago, believes police amnesty boxes could save lives. The idea was proposed at a Wycombe District Council meeting this week, but Moya says she's mortified it wasn't supported.
Well, I just hope that by speaking out, both Thames Valley Police and Wycombe District Council will definitely have a change of mind and heart on this. One less knife on the street is one less knife that is going to be used to create mayhem.
A former prison officer at Wood Hill Prison in Milton Keynes has been awarded nearly £500,000 in compensation. Simon Butler fractured his right ankle in 2009 when he slipped on ice while on guard dog patrol outside the jail. The area hadn't been gritted. The 47-year-old now has a 25% risk of amputation. A new cross-party campaign to get the UK out of the European Union is being launched today, bringing together MPs and donors from the Conservatives, Labour and UKIP. Vote Leave is the second Eurosceptic group formed to fight the referendum due by the end of 2017 and includes the Conservative MP for Wickham, Steve Baker, and the Labour MP for Luton North, Kelvin Hopkins. Royal Mail has resumed deliveries to over 120 homes in Aylesbury, which were halted after a postman was attacked by the same dog 3 times. Post had been suspended for Wadden Chase but